The secret to never getting angry or bothered by anyone. Modern Stoicism. Now imagine a life where nothing can steal your inner peace, no matter the chaos around you. No harsh words, no provocation can shake you. This is the power of modern Stoicism. It's not about avoiding conflict, it's about mastering your reactions and staying calm in any storm. In today's video, I'll reveal the secret behind never getting angry or bothered by anyone. Stoic secrets that can transform how you navigate life. Ready to reclaim your calm? Let's dive in. Number 1. Understanding emotions and control. Imagine a life where no one can make you angry, no matter how they behave. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you that the key to never getting angry or bothered by anyone lies within you? The secret is understanding and controlling your emotions, and this is the cornerstone of modern Stoicism. You see, emotions like anger aren't inherently negative or out of your control. Instead, they're signals, alerts from within trying to tell you something important. But here's the catch. It's not the emotion itself that determines how you feel, it's how you respond to it. Have you ever considered that your anger is less about what someone else did and more about how you interpret their actions? That's a game changer. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that emotions don't just randomly happen to us. They emerge from our judgments and perceptions. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, powerfully said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that for a moment. What if the person who insults you or cuts you off in traffic isn't the one in control of your emotional state, but you? You're the one who decides how to react. This is the first Stoic secret to mastering your emotions. Understanding that your emotional response to an event is always based on your perception of it. Someone could insult you, but that doesn't automatically mean you need to feel angry. It's your interpretation of that insult that determines whether you feel hurt or offended. Take a moment to reflect on that. When you feel your anger rise, is it because of the event itself or because of the meaning you've attached to it? The Stoics believed that we all have the power to choose our reactions, and once you realize this, you'll discover that no one has the power to control your emotions unless you let them. This idea can change everything. Every time you feel anger creeping in, pause and ask yourself, am I allowing this person or situation to control my emotional state, or am I in control? By challenging your automatic responses and beliefs about external events, you'll gradually realize that you have far more control over your emotions than you ever thought possible. It might not be easy at first, but this practice of self-reflection and control is the key to emotional freedom. Just think about it. What would your life look like if you were no longer bothered by the actions of others? How much peace would that bring? The Stoics didn't believe in suppressing emotions or ignoring the signals they send. Instead, they embraced the idea that emotions are a reflection of our beliefs and perceptions. And once you realize this truth, you can choose to reshape your beliefs, allowing you to respond with calm, rationality, and strength, no matter what life throws your way. So, the next time you find yourself getting angry or upset, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what's really going on here? Am I giving away my power, or am I choosing to remain in control? With practice, you'll find that the Stoic path to emotional mastery is the path to peace, and the secret to never getting angry or bothered by anyone again. Number 2, the power of perception. Let's talk about the power of perception. It's simple but powerful. How you perceive the world is your reality. Everything you see, how others act, and how you react to situations are all shaped by your own interpretation. Take traffic, for example. Picture someone cutting you off in the middle of a busy drive. Most people immediately feel the rush of anger. How dare they? But have you ever stopped to ask why? The person cutting you off is simply trying to get where they're going, just like you. What triggers the anger is not their actions, but how you see those actions. This is where Stoic philosophy offers profound wisdom. The Stoics introduced us to the dichotomy of control, the idea that there are things we can control and things we cannot. You can't control how others behave, but you can control how you react to their behavior. So, when something happens that triggers anger, pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If it's not, why let it disturb your peace? By shifting your mindset, you take back the power. In that moment, instead of reacting, try responding with awareness. Your perception shapes your emotional experience, so take control of it. You don't need to let every little thing upset you. Much of it is simply the result of how your mind interprets the situation. Now, can you see how your perception shapes your emotions? Drop a comment with, "I create my own reality," if you believe that you have the power to shape your emotional world. Now, let's dive into expectations, the root cause of much of our anger and frustration. We all have them. We expect people to behave a certain way, to meet certain standards, and when they don't, disappointment sets in, often followed by anger. It's like ordering food at a restaurant and receiving the wrong dish. You're annoyed not just because the food is wrong, but because it didn't meet the expectation you had in your mind. This is where Stoicism steps in again, offering wisdom. The Stoics taught us that suffering often comes from unmet expectations. Think about it. The moment you expect something, you're giving up control. You're assuming things will go your way, and when they don't, it's easy to feel frustrated. But what if you let go of these expectations? What if, instead of demanding that others behave in a certain way, you accepted them as they are, flaws and all? Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "When you are troubled by any external thing, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your own judgment about it." When you stop expecting perfection from people and situations, you stop setting yourself up for disappointment. And without disappointment, there's far less room for anger. So, think about it. What if you stopped expecting the world to meet your standards? How might that change your emotional state? Drop a comment with, "I accept things as they come" is the key to letting go of frustration. The lessons from Stoic philosophy are clear. Your perception is your power, and your expectations shape your emotional experience. The next time you feel angry or bothered, pause and reflect. Is it really worth your peace? Can you change how you view the situation? By practicing these Stoic principles, you can reclaim control over your emotions and cultivate inner peace, free from the turmoil of frustration and anger. Drop a comment with, "I create my own reality," because your perception shapes your world. Are you ready to shift that perspective? Let's continue. Number 3. The role of expectations. Let's explore the role of expectations, because this is where so much of our frustration and anger come from. It's natural to expect things from others, whether it's how they treat us, how they behave, or how they perform. But when those expectations aren't met, what happens? Disappointment, right? And often, disappointment is the first step toward anger. Think about it. When you assume that people will act a certain way, and they don't, you're essentially setting yourself up for an emotional fall. But here's the deeper truth. Expectations are nothing more than assumptions. We expect people to behave how we think they should, based on our personal judgments, But when reality doesn't match those assumptions, we're left feeling upset, helpless, and, yes, angry. This is where Stoic philosophy provides us with powerful tools. The Stoics, known for their wisdom in mastering emotions, believe that unmet expectations are a direct cause of suffering. They advise that to avoid suffering, we must let go of the desire to control or predict how others behave. Instead, they urged us to accept things as they are, not as we wish them to be. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wisely stated, "When you are troubled by any external thing, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your own judgment about it." This profound statement highlights how much power we have over our emotional reactions. Our anger and frustration are often more about how we judge situations than about the situations themselves. When you let go of unrealistic expectations, you free yourself from the anger that comes from disappointment. So, what if you stopped expecting people to be perfect, or for them to treat you exactly as you want? What if you accepted others for who they are, flaws and all? In doing so, you'll find peace in the present moment, because you'll no longer be looking for things to align with your expectations. Instead, you'll accept things as they are, just as they are. When you embrace this Stoic principle, you create an iron mind that isn't easily shaken by outside forces. As the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So ask yourself, what if you could release those expectations and just allow life to unfold as it will? Wouldn't that bring you a deeper sense of calm? Take a moment to reflect on that and let it guide you to a more peaceful way of being. This shift in mindset, moving from frustration to acceptance, is the secret to not letting anything or anyone disturb your inner peace. Number 4. Recognizing triggers. Imagine this. You're walking through life, and no matter what happens, no matter how harsh someone is or how difficult the situation, you're completely unshaken. You stay calm, composed, and in control. Seems impossible, right? But it's not. It's the Stoic secret that has helped countless individuals, including the great Marcus Aurelius, navigate life's most challenging moments. The key? Recognizing your triggers, the things that push you into anger before you even realize it. We've all experienced it. One person says something and we barely flinch. Another says the exact same thing and suddenly we're furious. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why? What makes some things set us off, while others don't? The answer is simple, yet profound. It's your triggers. Triggers are automatic emotional responses to external events, those deep-seated reactions that arise before you even have a chance to think about them. They're rooted in years of life experiences, past trauma, beliefs, and sometimes even old wounds that haven't fully healed. For instance, let's say you've been told countless times that your ideas don't matter. When someone dismisses your opinion, even in a small way, your reaction might be explosive. But the anger isn't just about the specific incident. It's about the emotional scars from your past that are being reopened. This is where dark psychology and emotional manipulation come into play. People or situations can trigger you without you even realizing it, pulling the strings of your emotions. But here's the good news. Once you recognize these triggers, you gain control over them. You stop reacting automatically and instead you begin to choose how you respond. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, practice something called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evil. They understood that life would present challenges, and instead of being blindsided by them, they mentally prepared themselves. This mental rehearsal, this muscle memory for the mind, is what allowed them to stay calm no matter what chaos surrounded them. So let me ask you, can you recognize your triggers? The next time you feel anger rising, pause. Ask yourself, what happened before this? What thoughts were running through my mind? Understanding where your anger comes from gives you the power to choose a different response, just like the Stoics did. This isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending you don't feel anger. It's about understanding it and choosing how to react. It's about breaking free from automatic emotional patterns. If you can identify your triggers and mentally prepare yourself for them, you can stop anger before it even begins to take root. It's like building a habit. The more you practice self-awareness and self-control, the more powerful you become over your emotions. So before you step into situations that might trigger you, take a moment to prepare. Visualize the scenario and how you want to respond with calmness and control. You'll be amazed at how quickly this practice becomes second nature. In fact, next time you feel the familiar stirrings of anger, remind yourself, this isn't the situation upsetting me, it's my reaction, and I choose differently. Awareness is the first step to mastering your emotion. Take a moment to reflect and remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. So, I challenge you, next time you feel triggered, remember, you control your peace. Drop a comment below with the phrase, I know my triggers and I control them, because your awareness will lead to your power. Number 5. The principle of indifference. One of the most empowering principles from modern Stoicism is the idea of indifference. It sounds simple, but it's actually a game changer when it comes to achieving peace of mind. In a world full of chaos, people's opinions, unexpected events, the actions of others, it's so easy to let all of this disturb our inner tranquility. But the Stoics, especially Epictetus, taught us that what truly matters is not what happens to you, but how you respond to it. Imagine being able to stay calm and composed no matter what life throws at you. Sounds impossible, right? But that's the core of the Stoic lesson of indifference. Now, don't confuse indifference with apathy. It's not about being emotionally detached or cold towards the world. It's about understanding that the only thing you can control is your own mind. The opinions of others, their actions, and the unpredictable nature of life are all beyond your control, so why let them disturb your peace? Let me ask you, how many times have you let someone's harsh words or actions completely throw off your mood? Maybe it was a rude comment from a colleague, a traffic jam that made you late, or an unexpected problem that left you feeling frustrated. Now, think about this. How much power did that person or that situation actually have over your emotions? The truth is, they didn't have as much power as you might think. The real issue lies in how much you allowed those external events to affect your inner state. The power of indifference is realizing that you have the ability to choose how to react to these situations, no matter how out of control they seem. Here's where the story of a modern-day CEO might resonate. Imagine you're a business owner and your team makes a big mistake, something that could potentially hurt your brand. The natural response might be to get angry, maybe even lash out. But if you apply the principle of indifference, you would pause, recognize that your anger won't solve the issue, and choose to respond with a calm and solution-focused mindset. You'd keep your emotional state intact, which in turn would help you handle the situation more effectively. This is not about becoming passive or emotionless. It's about developing the emotional strength to stay steady, no matter what happens around you. Let's go back to what Epictetus said. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That's a powerful reminder. When you detach your emotional state from external events, you take away their power over you. Take a moment and think, when was the last time you got upset by something outside of your control? Was it really worth the energy? When you master the art of indifference, you stop allowing others' words, actions, or opinions to control your emotional state. You prioritize your peace over anything else. Now, let's flip the script. What if you decided to let go of worrying about things that are completely outside your control? How would your life look if you didn't let the actions of others or the unpredictability of life take away your calm? This is the gift of indifference. It's not that you don't care about the world or the people around you. It means you care about your peace more than anything else. So, I challenge you. Next time you face a situation that could trigger you, whether it's a rude comment, an unexpected setback, or a stressful moment, take a deep breath and practice indifference. Remind yourself, I control my peace, no matter the storm. When you stop giving external events the power to disrupt your emotions, you take back control of your life. Drop a comment with the phrase, I control my peace no matter the storm. And remember, your peace is yours to keep. The lesson here is clear. By mastering indifference, you can free yourself from being ruled by outside forces. You stop reacting automatically to external triggers, and you regain your power to respond calmly and thoughtfully. This is one of the key Stoic lessons that can help you live a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Number 6. Mastering your reactions. Now that we've discussed the power of indifference, let's focus on one of the most important aspects of emotional control, mastering your reactions. Here's the truth. Life is unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Situations will test you. Circumstances will change at a moment's notice. But no matter what happens, your reactions are always within your control, and it's those reactions that determine your emotional state. This is where Stoic philosophy shines. The Stoics didn't believe in trying to control the world around them. They understood that was impossible. What they focused on was controlling how they responded to whatever life threw at them. Your emotional response to any situation is a choice. It might not feel like it in the heat of the moment, but that's the truth. You can choose to react with anger, frustration, or resentment, or you can choose to respond with calmness, understanding, and wisdom. Let me give you an example from the life of one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, Seneca. He once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." What he meant was that our emotional reactions are often far more intense than the actual situation warrants. We blow things out of proportion, creating drama and suffering in our minds, when in reality the situation may not be as bad as we think. Think about the last time something upset you. How did you react? Did you immediately jump to anger or frustration? Did you let the situation control you? Or did you take a moment to reflect before responding? The key to mastering your reactions is pausing before you respond. Take a deep breath, step back, and allow yourself a moment of reflection. This pause gives you the power to choose your response. And let's be clear about something. You're not going to be perfect at this. There will be times when you react impulsively. That's part of being human. But the difference between someone who masters their emotions and someone who doesn't is this. The master recognizes their reaction and works to improve it. The key to growth is awareness. Every time you find yourself reacting emotionally, acknowledge it and then ask yourself, what could I have done differently? This is also where dark psychology can play a role in your emotional mastery. Understanding that certain triggers, people, and situations can manipulate your emotions gives you the ability to disarm them by recognizing the subtle tactics that others may use to provoke you. Whether it's passive aggression, insults, or mind games, you can choose not to engage. You can refuse to play the emotional games others might try to pull you into. Here's the powerful part. When you master your reactions, you take away the power from everyone and everything that used to control your emotions. You become the unshakable force in your own life. No one can make you angry without your consent. No one can upset you unless you allow them to. This doesn't mean you'll never feel angry again. It means you'll have the tools to manage your emotions in a way that serves you, rather than letting them control you. When you take that step back, when you give yourself that brief moment of reflection, you regain your power over the situation. So, take a moment right now. Think of a situation where you've recently felt out of control or overly reactive. How could you have responded differently if you'd taken that pause? Imagine what it would feel like to respond with calm, with understanding, or even with humor instead of anger. Drop a comment with, "I am the master of my reactions," because once you take control of how you respond, you hold the keys to your emotional freedom. Let's continue. If you have come this far, you are ready to take control of your life and respond wisely. Leave a comment saying, "I control my reactions," to show your commitment to learning and applying the Stoic lessons to your daily life. Stay tuned. Your journey of self-improvement has only just begun. Number 7. Using dark psychology for empowerment. Let's talk about using dark psychology, not to manipulate others, but to empower yourself. Understanding dark psychology, the study of human manipulation and influence, can give you the edge in controlling your emotions and responses in any situation. Now, I'm not suggesting you start using these tactics against others. Instead, the true power lies in using this knowledge to recognize when others may be trying to provoke you or manipulate your emotions. It's about being aware of the psychological games that people play and choosing not to fall for them. One common tactic in dark psychology is provocation, when someone deliberately pushes your buttons to get a reaction. But when you understand what's happening, you can choose to respond with indifference rather than reacting emotionally. You no longer fall into their trap. You see through the manipulation and refuse to be controlled by it. Another tactic is gaslighting, where people try to make you doubt your own reality or feelings. Recognizing gaslighting allows you to stand firm in your own truth and refuse to be swayed. You don't let others dictate how you should feel or behave. The key here is using self-awareness. Knowing how people may try to manipulate you helps you stay in control of your own emotions. You don't have to react to everything. You can choose to stay calm, remain unaffected, and continue to prioritize your inner peace. Drop a comment with, "I see through manipulation and stay empowered," because recognizing these tactics puts you back in control. Let's move on. Number 8, the art of forgiveness. Now, let's talk about a powerful tool for mastering your emotions and truly letting go of anger: forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of those things we often think of as a gift we give to others, but in reality, it's a gift we give to ourselves. Holding on to resentment, grudges, or past hurts only ties us to negative emotions that drain our peace and happiness. The Stoics understood that anger and bitterness can only harm the person holding them, so forgiving others is a way to free yourself. Now, forgiveness doesn't mean you forget the offense, or even that you condone it. It means that you let go of the emotional weight it carries. Forgiveness is not for the person who wronged you. It's for your own emotional liberation. When you forgive, you stop allowing the past to control your emotions in the present. Think about this. How many times have you let an old wound resurface in your mind, only to feel angry all over again? By forgiving, you stop giving that wound the power to affect your mood, your actions, or your peace. You choose to release it, and in doing so you reclaim your power. Forgiveness doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, just like any other Stoic virtue. But each time you choose to forgive, even if just a little bit, you make it easier to let go of anger and resentment. You stop carrying that emotional baggage around with you. Now, let's move forward. You are the master of your emotions, and nothing, no person, no situation, no circumstance, can take that power away from you. By practicing the principles we've discussed, recognizing your emotional triggers, choosing your response, embracing indifference, using dark psychology to empower yourself, and learning the art of forgiveness, you can begin to change your mindset. You no longer need to be controlled by anger, frustration, or the actions of others. Instead, you become a calm, steady force that is unshakable, no matter what happens to you. Remember, you have the power to choose how you react. Use that power wisely and let nothing shake your peace. The secret to never getting angry or bothered by anyone. Modern Stoicism. Now imagine a life where nothing can steal your inner peace. No matter the chaos around you, no harsh words, no provocation can shake you. This is the power of modern Stoicism. It's not about avoiding conflict, it's about mastering your reactions and staying calm in any storm. In today's video, I'll reveal the secret behind never getting angry or bothered by anyone. Stoic secrets that can transform how you navigate life. Ready to reclaim your calm? Let's dive in. Additional principles to prevent anger. In Part A, we explored foundational Stoic principles that help prevent anger and frustration. Now, let's dive deeper into additional tools and strategies you can apply to maintain calmness and emotional control in every situation. By incorporating these practices into your life, you can continue to strengthen your ability to remain unshaken, no matter the circumstances. Number 1. The development of self-awareness. In your journey to mastering emotional control, there's one key tool that stands above the rest: self-awareness. Have you ever been in a situation where you reacted impulsively, saying something or doing something in the heat of the moment, only to regret it afterward? It happens to all of us. We get caught in the emotion of the moment, and before we know it, we've said or done things that we can't take back. But here's the good news. You don't have to let this continue. Self-awareness is the foundation upon which emotional control is built, and with practice, you can change the way you respond in emotionally charged situations. Self-awareness is not just about recognizing your emotions in the present moment. It's about developing the ability to reflect on your emotional state and recognizing what triggers those emotions. When you become self-aware, you begin to see the signs of anger rising within you before it fully manifests. Imagine having the power to step back from a frustrating situation, pause, and instead of reacting immediately, you take a breath and think about how you want to respond. Doesn't that sound like a game changer? The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This quote carries a timeless truth. It's not about controlling the events around you, but about taking control of how you choose to respond to them. The key is in recognizing your emotions early, before they dictate your actions. Think about it. Self-awareness acts as a mental pause button. In those tense, emotional moments, instead of being swept away by your feelings, you give yourself the space to reflect, How many times have you wished for a moment to reconsider your response before letting anger take over? We've all been there, saying something harsh in a split second, only to regret it later. But imagine if you had the ability to pause, reflect, and think through your reaction before it escalates. That's the power of self-awareness, and it's within your reach. It's something you can begin to practice today. Start by paying attention to your emotions, and with time, you'll develop the ability to recognize when anger is beginning to rise. From there, you can consciously choose how to respond. Self-awareness does more than just help you manage anger. It also enables you to spot patterns in your emotional life. Over time, you'll start noticing certain triggers, situations, or people that tend to set off your anger. Once you're aware of these patterns, you can be proactive. Instead of waiting until you're deep in anger, you can take action before it gets to that point. You might start to avoid certain situations, or change how you approach them altogether. You stop being a slave to your emotions and start becoming the master of them. This is where true emotional resilience comes in. Being able to recognize when you're about to lose control, and then having the power to redirect yourself before things get out of hand. What's truly transformative about self-awareness is that it changes your relationship with your emotions. It's not about trying to avoid anger altogether. It's about learning how to manage it when it arises. Marcus Aurelius also said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By shaping your thoughts through self-awareness, you begin to change how you experience the world. Imagine facing a situation that used to make you angry, and instead of reacting with frustration, you respond calmly and thoughtfully. How powerful would that be? Self-awareness empowers you to take control of your emotional responses, allowing you to maintain peace and balance no matter what's happening around you. The more aware you become, the more you can choose how to respond to anything life throws your way. That is where the true power lies. Taking charge of your emotions rather than letting them control you. This is the Stoic way, to remain steady and composed no matter the circumstances. By practicing self-awareness, you gain the ability to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. And the more you practice this, the more it becomes second nature. So let me ask you, what's one small step you can take today to become more aware of your emotions? Can you start by noticing when tension begins to build in your body and make the conscious decision to pause before reacting? This simple practice can be life-changing. It might take some time, but with each step you take toward becoming more self-awareness, you're moving closer to mastering your emotions. The Stoic secret to a peaceful and balanced life is within your reach. It starts with simply paying attention to what's going on inside you. Number 2, practicing deep breathing to control emotions. One simple but highly effective method for maintaining emotional control is practicing deep breathing. When anger or frustration bubbles up, it's easy to feel like you're at the mercy of your emotions. The overwhelming sense of being out of control can be all-consuming. However, here's a powerful truth from both ancient Stoicism and modern science. You are not powerless in these moments. One of the simplest yet most profound tools to reclaim your calm is something you've been doing your entire life: breathing. Deep, conscious breathing is not just a wellness cliché or a trendy technique. It is, in fact, a Stoic practice in disguise. A direct and immediate way to pause, reset, and bring your rational mind back to the forefront. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That strength often begins with a single, deliberate breath. Each time you choose to breathe deeply instead of letting your emotions take the wheel, you are choosing to be the master of yourself. As Epictetus would say, this is the only true freedom, the freedom to choose how you respond rather than being controlled by your impulses. Let's bring this into a modern context. Picture a young woman named Lynn who works in customer service. Her day is a blur of complaints, upset customers, and pressure from her manager. One morning, a customer calls in, angry over a billing mistake, a mistake that she didn't even make. Lynn can feel the familiar physical response to anger. Her chest tightens, her heart races, and her fists begin to clench. It's the typical reaction. But instead of firing back in frustration, Lynn closes her eyes for just a moment and takes a slow, deliberate breath. Then she takes another. As she focuses only on the sensation of air filling her lungs, she creates a pause. In this small space between breaths, she finds something sacred: clarity. By choosing to breathe deeply, she gives herself the mental space to think rather than react. She replies calmly, resolves the issue, and when the call ends, there is no regret, just a sense of steadiness. Lynn's breath didn't erase the problem, but it gave her the ability to handle the situation with reason and dignity. She didn't lose her temper, and she didn't let her emotions dictate her actions. You see, modern Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending that you're not affected by them. It's about choosing how you respond to those emotions, rather than being driven by them. Deep breathing serves as a gatekeeper for your emotions. It slows the flood of impulses, giving your rational mind a chance to catch up and take charge. Have you ever noticed how often we regret what we say or do in the heat of anger, but rarely regret what we say when we are calm and composed? The power of clarity in those moments is undeniable. What would your life be like if you could make that clarity a habit? Here's something for you to reflect on. When was the last time you paused before reacting to a stressful situation? What if that pause, that moment of stillness, was your practice, your act of quiet courage? The Stoics believed that we should live in accordance with nature, and part of our natural design is our ability to choose our responses. In the heat of conflict, a simple breath can serve as your anchor. It's a return to yourself, to your true nature. As Seneca wisely said, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. And what is deep breathing if not a noble delay? A graceful act of defiance against the urge to be ruled by raw emotion. A pause to reconnect with your reason and your higher self. So, what's the takeaway here? First, your breath is more than just a biological function. It is a bridge between impulse and intention. Second, by choosing to breathe deeply, you're not avoiding the moment. Rather, you are stepping into it with clarity, purpose, and self-control. Third, you always have this tool with you. Whether you're stuck in traffic, dealing with a difficult conversation, handling a stressful work situation, or facing tension at home, every breath you take can be an act of virtue. This isn't about becoming emotionless or detached from your feelings. It's about becoming unshakable, unmovable in the face of whatever challenges life throws your way. The next time life presses your buttons and emotions start to rise, don't reach outward for control. Reach inward for composure. Start with a deep breath. Let that breath be a reminder that you have the power to choose your response. And with each conscious breath, you are reaffirming your ability to maintain control, no matter what's happening around you. Leave a comment saying, "Helps me control my emotions," or simply express your commitment to learning how to control your breathing and emotions effectively. Remember, this journey is not only about calming yourself in stressful situations, but also about discovering and growing yourself. Number 3. accepting that you can't control everything. One of the greatest lessons both in life and Stoic philosophy is recognizing that peace begins where control ends. In the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, he reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In today's fast-paced, noise-filled world, we often get caught up trying to control the uncontrollable. We attempt to manipulate the actions of others, expect the world to cater to our desires, and when things don't align with our plans, frustration and anger rise. But what if true strength lies in letting go of this need for control, accepting what is, and focusing on how we respond? This is at the heart of Stoic philosophy, dividing the world into two realms, what depends on us and what doesn't. Trying to control the weather, others' opinions, or unpredictable events like traffic jams is an exercise in futility that depletes our emotional energy. Most of our frustrations stem not from the events themselves, but from our resistance to them, our insistence that things should be different. Consider the example of Min, a 52-year-old small business owner who spent years battling bureaucracy, pushing against regulations, and struggling to fix things beyond his control. His stress, unchecked and escalating, eventually led to a warning from his doctor about hypertension. Only then did he begin to question his approach. Inspired by the wisdom of Epictetus, who taught, "Some things are up to us and some things are not," Min redirected his energy. He stopped fighting what he couldn't change and began focusing on how he responded to obstacles instead of resenting them. The result? He experienced more clarity and peace of mind as he learned to be the still point in a world full of turmoil. Acceptance in this context doesn't equate to passivity or resignation. Rather, it's about focusing on the one thing that truly belongs to us, our response. The Stoic practice teaches us that our power lies not in controlling external events, but in how we choose to react to them. As Seneca wisely stated, "A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not." When we shift our mindset from trying to control everything to simply responding with intention and clarity, we stop being victims of external circumstances. Instead, we become anchors in a storm. This principle is more relevant than ever today in a world dominated by endless opinions, noise, and a culture that seeks to control every aspect of life. For example, imagine how much more peaceful life could be if we allowed ourselves to take a deep breath when our spouse forgets something important. Instead of becoming irate when our grown children make decisions we don't agree with, we could accept their choices without judgment. Acceptance doesn't mean passivity. It's an active discipline of letting go of what we cannot control. In practice, it means releasing the futile tension that arises from expecting the world to conform to our personal desires. It's about understanding that life is unpredictable, and unpredictable events are beyond our control. Acceptance is not about surrendering your will, but about sharpening it. By focusing your energy inward on your thoughts, your actions, and your response, you regain the power to navigate life's challenges with grace. Rather than asking, "Why did this happen?" we can ask, "How will I respond?" This shift in perspective is the foundation of inner peace and strength. It's the path to true clarity and wisdom. So, take a moment and ask yourself, what are you holding on to so tightly that it's causing you unnecessary stress? What might happen if you released it and reclaimed your calm in the process? The essence of Stoic clarity is found not in bending the world to your will, but in standing unwavering when the world refuses to bend to you. Number 4. distinguishing between emotions and actions. Let me talk to you, yes you, about something quietly powerful, something that may very well be one of the greatest Stoic secrets, the ability to distinguish between emotion and action. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Yet how often have you felt the surge of anger, frustration or fear and reacted immediately, perhaps with words or deeds you later regretted? The Stoics, those ancient masters of emotional self-command, remind us, feeling is not the same as acting. You feel anger, that is human, but to act on it, that's a choice, and that's where your power lies. Marcus Aurelius, that warrior emperor who ruled with both sword and soul, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." He didn't deny emotion, rather he urged us to pause, to reflect, and to choose the response worthy of our better nature. So the next time anger bubbles up, when someone cuts you off in traffic or a co-worker slights you in front of others, what will you do with that energy? Will you lash out like a slave to impulse? Or will you, like a Stoic warrior, transform that fire into light? Epictetus, once a slave himself, knew the chains we forge are often invisible. He taught that while we cannot always control what we feel, we can train ourselves not to be ruled by it. He said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." That's tough love, isn't it? But also freeing. You're not at the mercy of your emotions unless you allow yourself to be. And here's where the rubber meets the road. Every time you choose not to act on a destructive impulse, you reclaim sovereignty over your soul. You become, in the words of Seneca, a man who has conquered his emotions. What does that look like in real life? It's biting your tongue in a heated moment. It's breathing deeply instead of shouting. It's choosing silence over sarcasm, curiosity over condemnation. These aren't acts of weakness. They're expressions of immense inner strength. But ask yourself, what does anger usually bring you? Has giving into it ever really solved the problem? Or has it only fed the fire, leaving you burned and regretful? Now imagine the clarity, the quiet dignity that comes from mastering the pause, the space between stimulus and response. What might your relationships look like if you cultivated that space more often? I know it's not easy. Emotions are fast, loud, demanding. They clamor for action. But you, my friend, are not a puppet on their strings. You are capable of discernment. You can say, yes, I feel this, but I am not this. That space, that choice, is where your Stoic power resides. Let me leave you with this challenge. The next time you feel a powerful emotion rise up, pause. Ask yourself, what is the wise thing to do here? What response would reflect the kind of person I aspire to be? This is not about suppressing emotion, it's about transforming it into wisdom. Remember, you are not your anger, you are not your fear, you are not your desire. You are the judge of all these things, the sculptor of your soul. So, how will you choose to act when the fire comes? Will you be forged by it or consumed? That, dear listener, is a Stoic secret worth holding close. Number 5. Building positive habits to stay calm. Building positive habits is one of the most effective ways to stay calm, no matter what life throws at you. We all experience stress and emotional turmoil. It's a natural part of being human. But what if you could build a mental and physical foundation that allows you to remain composed in the face of those challenges? Positive habits, such as meditation, yoga, or regular exercise, are powerful tools to help you stay grounded. Think of these practices as training for your mind and body. strengthening your resilience against stress. In a world that constantly demands your attention, these habits help you take control over your reactions rather than letting circumstances dictate how you feel. It's about creating a space for yourself, a time when you can step away from external chaos and focus inward. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This timeless wisdom reminds us that no matter the situation, we always have the power to choose our response. Let me share a story to highlight how important building these habits can be. Take the story of Sarah, a modern-day professional who, like many of us, found herself caught in a whirlwind of deadlines, meetings, and constant demands. Her stress levels were through the roof, and it affected her relationships, her work, and her health. But then she decided to make a change. She started with just 10 minutes of meditation in the morning, gradually adding yoga and daily walks into her routine. At first, it was difficult for her to quiet her mind, but she stuck with it. Over time, Sarah found herself better equipped to handle stress. Challenges at work didn't throw her off balance anymore, and her relationships improved because she wasn't reacting out of frustration or exhaustion. What can we learn from Sarah's story? Building positive habits creates a steady foundation for us to stay calm and clear-headed when life's storms hit. These small practices don't just serve as temporary fixes, they help rewire the way we respond to the world. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to feel like we have no control over what happens to us. But by cultivating habits that foster inner peace, you're reclaiming that control. When you practice meditation, yoga, or exercise regularly, you're telling your mind and body that you value peace over chaos. You're teaching yourself that your inner state matters more than the external noise. And when you begin to see that these habits become a part of your daily routine, you'll notice how much easier it becomes to stay calm when challenges arise. This is the essence of modern Stoicism, the idea that we can train our minds to stay steady regardless of external circumstances. Stoic lessons like these show us that emotional resilience is a skill that can be developed, just like any other habit. So ask yourself, what small habit could you start today to help you stay calm? Is it setting aside 5 minutes for deep breathing in the morning? Or perhaps a short walk after work to clear your mind? The key here is consistency. Just like the Stoics believed in the power of habits and discipline, you can create a routine that nurtures your ability to stay unshaken, no matter what happens around you. The lesson here is clear. Positive habits don't just make us feel good in the moment, they help us build the mental fortitude to remain calm, composed, and resilient. Establishing a routine that promotes inner peace is not just about surviving the chaos of life, it's about thriving in it. By committing to these practices, you're actively shaping the person you want to be. Someone who is strong, steady, and unflappable, no matter what. Type, "I stay calm," to remind yourself and inspire those around you that you are committed to building positive habits to stay calm, no matter the circumstances. Your participation and support will not only help you maintain your inner peace, but also help us reach more people so they can learn and apply these positive habits in their lives together. Number 6. Practicing empathy and understanding. One of the most powerful antidotes to anger isn't force or control, it's empathy. When you practice empathy, you give yourself the ability to step out of your own reaction and step into the world of someone else. That shift is no small thing. It softens the edges of resentment and frustration and invites a sense of clarity that is both human and wise. Think about the last time someone cut you off in traffic or spoke to you harshly. Your first reaction might have been to flare up, to assume malice, disrespect, or carelessness. But what if, instead of reacting, you paused and asked, "What might this person be carrying today? What might I not see?" That simple question can be the difference between conflict and calm. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? In other words, empathy doesn't excuse bad behavior. It simply reminds us that we all have our moments of weakness. It reconnects us to our shared humanity. Let me tell you about Lan, a 63-year-old woman I spoke with recently, who works part-time at a local clinic. She'd often get irritated when her younger co-workers seemed distracted or careless, which led to several tense moments in the workplace. But one day, she overheard a conversation. One of them, a young nurse, had been staying up late caring for her ill father. Another was juggling school and 2 jobs to pay for her education. Suddenly, Lan's perspective changed. She realized that their behavior wasn't laziness, it was exhaustion and emotional strain. From then on, instead of reacting with irritation, she responded with kindness and support. Not only did her relationships at work improve, but she also felt more at peace. That's the power of empathy. It shifts your focus from blame to understanding, and from frustration to compassion. This isn't just soft-hearted kindness. It's strategic emotional intelligence. It's what modern Stoicism teaches us, that being rational and calm doesn't mean being cold. It means choosing the response that preserves your own well-being while not adding harm to others. So now, ask yourself this. The next time someone snaps at you, interrupts you, or acts thoughtlessly, can you pause before you react? Can you look beyond the surface and consider what unseen struggle they might be facing? These are the Stoic lessons that challenge us to live with purpose and poise, because what you choose in that moment says more about your strength than their weakness. When you cultivate empathy, you aren't letting others off the hook. You're keeping yourself from being dragged into their storm. You're holding firm to your peace and dignity, guided by the understanding that, like you, everyone is fighting battles you may never see. Here are the key lessons from this principle. First, empathy is not a sign of weakness. It's the exercise of emotional mastery. Second, understanding others helps you preserve your own inner calm, even in conflict. Third, practicing empathy daily builds resilience and helps you respond rather than react. And most importantly, it keeps you anchored in your values, reminding you that peace begins with you. So next time anger begins to rise, take a moment to see through the other person's eyes, because the most powerful path to peace often begins in someone else's shoes. Empathy is not only the key to understanding others, but also a powerful tool to help you maintain your composure and avoid unnecessary conflict when you are hurt. Let empathy guide you and open up opportunities for deeper connections in your life. And don't leave yet, because in the next section, we will explore specific ways to nurture and develop empathy in yourself. Key Stoic principles for emotional mastery. In this final section, we will explore how the principles of Stoicism can be applied in various situations to help you master your emotions and maintain peace of mind. By understanding and embracing these key teachings, you can create a more resilient and emotionally balanced life. Number 1. Adjusting your mindset to align with your goals. To truly achieve emotional mastery, the first step is adjusting your mindset. You see, life is unpredictable, filled with challenges that we often feel compelled to control. But here's the Stoic secret. Control only what you can and let go of the need to control everything else. Have you ever felt overwhelmed trying to manage things that are simply beyond your reach? This is where the Stoic mindset comes in, guiding you to focus on what lies within your control. This means embracing a shift from reacting impulsively to acting intentionally. Imagine facing a stressful situation, but instead of reacting emotionally, you choose to pause, assess what's truly within your power, and make decisions from a place of calm and clarity. That's the essence of the Stoic approach. By embracing this mindset, you gain the ability to navigate life with a sense of purpose and direction, making decisions based on your core values rather than letting your emotions dictate your actions. Think about Marcus Aurelius, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." It's such a powerful reminder that our emotional responses are within our control. We cannot change the events that occur around us, but we always have the power to choose how we respond. When you adjust your mindset to align with your values, you build an emotional foundation that is unshakable. So, what happens when you align your mindset with your goals and values? You begin to see obstacles as opportunities for growth, rather than as threats to your peace. Even in the most trying circumstances, you remain steady, grounded, and clear-headed. This allows you to make thoughtful decisions, pursue your objectives with resilience, and remain emotionally balanced even when life feels chaotic. By training yourself to focus on what you can control, your thoughts, reactions, and choices, you cultivate an inner peace that no external force can disturb. Think about it. How often have you been tossed around by circumstances because you were trying to control things you couldn't? Now, let's consider your own life for a moment. How much mental energy do you spend on things you can't change? The weather, the actions of others, or events that are simply out of your control? When you let go of these worries and focus on what you can influence, your thoughts and actions, you experience a profound sense of freedom. Freedom from anxiety, frustration, and fear. This is where emotional mastery begins, in your mind. The Stoics believed that true peace comes from cultivating an inner fortress that stands firm regardless of external turmoil. This doesn't mean ignoring your emotions or pretending that challenges don't affect you, but rather learning to respond to them in a way that is aligned with your deeper purpose. When you let your values guide you, you find yourself making decisions that align with your long-term goals, not temporary emotions. As the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That's the power of shifting your mindset. You can't control everything, but you can always control your response. This shift in perspective is liberating. It gives you the emotional mastery to face challenges head-on, knowing that you've already built a strong foundation to weather whatever comes your way. By focusing on what you can control and letting go of the rest, you create a mindset that's steady, resilient, and unshakable. One that propels you towards your goals with emotional clarity and strength. What might change for you if you embraced this mindset in your own life? What would it feel like to live with a sense of inner peace, no matter what life throws your way? In conclusion, by aligning your mindset with your values and focusing on what you can control, you create a foundation of peace that will allow you to remain unshaken in the face of any challenge. This is the key to emotional mastery, the ability to stay grounded and focused, no matter how chaotic life may become. It's the Stoic way. Number 2, focusing on what you can control. The core of Stoic wisdom lies in focusing on what you can control, your actions, your thoughts, and your responses. In a world full of distractions, It's easy to get caught up in worrying about things that are beyond your influence. But the Stoics teach us to take a step back and ask, what's within my control right now? When you focus on this, you stop wasting your precious energy on things that only lead to frustration and helplessness. Think about a time when you let something out of your control, like someone's behavior or an unexpected event, steal your peace. How did that feel? Likely, it left you exhausted and powerless. But when you direct your attention to the one thing you always have control over, your own actions and reactions, you start to regain a sense of empowerment. This is modern Stoicism in action. The Stoics believed that we can always control our inner response to whatever life throws at us. Take, for instance, the story of the famous basketball coach Phil Jackson. He coached the Chicago Bulls and the Los Angeles Lakers to multiple NBA championships, and his approach to the game was deeply influenced by Stoic principles. During intense games, when emotions ran high and players were frustrated, Jackson would remind them, you can't control the referees or the opponent's actions, but you can control how you respond. He encouraged his players to focus on their own game and not get distracted by anything outside of their control. It wasn't always the most talented team that won, but the team that could maintain composure, focus on their own strengths, and respond effectively. This approach not only led to championships, but more importantly, helped the players cultivate emotional resilience. So, what about you? When life throws curveballs your way, whether it's a disagreement at work, a traffic jam, or an unexpected setback, how often do you get caught up in frustration over things you can't change? What would it feel like if you could let go of those frustrations and instead focus only on what you can control, your reaction and your next steps? That shift in focus is where true power lies. Concentrating on what's within your control empowers you to act with purpose, no matter how chaotic or uncontrollable the external world may seem. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the driver of your own emotional state. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. The lesson here is simple but profound. When you focus on what you can control, you gain the clarity and peace of mind needed to respond thoughtfully, with calm and purpose, regardless of what's happening around you. You take back your power, step by step, moment by moment. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, what can I control right now? If Stoicism and focusing on what you can control today resonate with you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Or, if these insights have been really helpful to you, just type "Awesome" to let us know you're applying these principles in your life. Number 3, the courage to face adversity head-on. One of the key Stoic principles for emotional mastery is having the courage to face adversity head-on. Life is full of challenges, some small, some monumental, but it's how we respond to them that shapes our emotional resilience. Stoicism teaches us that instead of running from difficulty or seeking to avoid discomfort, we should embrace these hardships as opportunities for growth. This mindset doesn't come naturally to most of us, but it is through facing these challenges with courage that we build what the Stoics called an iron mind, a mind that remains unshaken no matter the circumstances. Think about it. When you confront a challenge with a spirit of resilience, you not only overcome that particular obstacle, but you also grow stronger in the process. It's like strengthening a muscle. Each challenge you face, no matter how difficult, becomes another opportunity to train your mind and heart to be more steadfast. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, emperor, famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the very essence of facing adversity with courage. By confronting the difficulties head-on, we discover new strengths within ourselves. Consider the story of Admiral James Stockdale, who endured over 7 years of brutal captivity as a prisoner of war in Vietnam. During this unimaginable ordeal, he relied on Stoic principles to survive. He didn't deny the pain, nor did he succumb to despair. Instead, he faced his suffering with the understanding that while he couldn't control his circumstances, he could control his response to them. He later said, "You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be." Stockdale's experience is a powerful example of how facing adversity with courage isn't about denying the harshness of the situation, but about embracing it and finding the strength to persevere. The courage to face adversity head-on doesn't just allow you to survive. It can transform you into someone who thrives in the face of difficulty. In modern life, this Stoic lesson still holds immense value. How often do we shy away from difficult conversations, uncomfortable situations, or the fear of failure? But what if, instead of avoiding challenges, we leaned into them, understanding that each obstacle is a stepping stone toward personal growth? For instance, maybe you're facing a tough career decision or dealing with a personal setback. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, but if you adopt a Stoic mindset and view this adversity as an opportunity to learn, you can navigate it with grace and clarity. After all, it's not the challenge itself that defines you, it's how you respond to it. This is the power of Stoic courage. By facing adversity with courage, you don't just endure life's trials, you actively engage with them, using each experience to build your inner strength and emotional resilience. You stop allowing external events to control your emotions, and instead you take charge of your response. This is true emotional mastery, the ability to transform challenges into chances for personal growth. In doing so, you cultivate the strength to remain composed, no matter what life throws your way. You become someone who is not easily rattled, who is equipped with the mental toughness to handle whatever comes next. So, the next time adversity knocks on your door, ask yourself, how can I face this challenge with courage, and how can it help me grow stronger? In conclusion, embracing adversity is essential for emotional mastery. When you meet life's challenges with courage, you gain the ability to maintain control over your emotions, turning difficult situations into powerful lessons. Each challenge becomes a chance to practice resilience and build your iron mind. And over time, you'll find that nothing in life can shake you quite as easily. The Stoic approach teaches us that adversity isn't something to fear, it's something to welcome, as it is the very key to unlocking your inner strength and emotional mastery. Number 4, the ability to stay calm in all situations. Have you ever found yourself caught up in a moment of stress, where emotions take over and it feels like everything is spiraling out of control? We all experience this from time to time, whether it's a disagreement with someone, a sudden change in plans, or an unexpected challenge at work. In these moments, the ability to stay calm, to hold your emotional ground, is one of the most powerful tools you can have. This is where Stoic principles come into play, offering a transformative way to master your emotions, especially when the world around you feels chaotic. Imagine being able to face life's biggest challenges with a sense of inner peace, unshaken by external events. That's the Stoic secret to emotional mastery. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control what happens to us, we always have control over how we respond. The great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These words remind us that, no matter the external situation, we possess the ability to choose our response, our emotional reaction. Think about it. When things go wrong, how often do you let frustration or anger cloud your judgment? Have you ever found yourself reacting impulsively, only to regret your actions later? This is where the true power of Stoicism lies. By practicing these timeless principles, we can train ourselves to pause before reacting. Instead of letting emotions take the wheel, we can step back, assess the situation, and choose a response that serves us best. It's about taking control of your inner world, regardless of the chaos outside. The Stoics didn't preach suppressing emotions or pretending to be unaffected by life's hardships. Instead, they encouraged us to acknowledge our emotions, understand their root causes, and then respond with wisdom, not out of reactivity. This shift in perspective can completely transform the way you navigate life's challenges. Think about the moments when you've let your emotions dictate your actions. Maybe you've snapped at someone in anger or made a hasty decision out of frustration. How did that affect the situation? Likely, it only made things worse. But when you practice calmness, you give yourself the space to think clearly. The Stoics believed that maintaining composure wasn't about being cold or detached, but about preserving your peace of mind so you could make thoughtful, rational decisions. Remember, staying calm is not about avoiding emotions, but about not letting them control you. This takes time and practice, but as you strengthen your emotional resilience, you'll find that the ability to stay composed becomes second nature. Next time you face a stressful situation, ask yourself, how can I respond with calm and clarity instead of reacting impulsively? How can I choose a reaction that aligns with my values and brings me peace rather than frustration? The power of Stoic calmness is not only in the moment, but also in the lasting impact it has on your life. You'll find yourself making better decisions, building stronger relationships, and facing challenges with confidence and clarity. So the next time you're tempted to lose your cool, take a deep breath and remind yourself of the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say or think or do, only what you do. In doing so, you reclaim your emotional strength and bring yourself closer to mastering the art of calmness in any situation. Number 5. Developing a resilient inner peace. One of the most profound lessons of Stoicism is the cultivation of inner peace. In our fast-paced, often chaotic world, it's easy to become swept up in external events, letting the noise and drama around us dictate our emotional state. But Stoicism teaches us that true peace comes from within. The power of inner peace lies in your ability to control your reactions, to ground yourself in the present moment, and to focus on what is within your control. Think about it. How often do you find yourself reacting emotionally to external events or situations that you have no power over? This can drain your energy and disrupt your sense of well-being. But when you focus on your inner state and make a conscious effort to cultivate a peaceful mind, you gain the ability to stay grounded, no matter what's going on around you. As Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, wisely said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." It's not the events themselves that shake us, but how we choose to respond to them. In modern life, developing this kind of inner peace is more important than ever. Take, for example, the story of a high-powered executive, Sarah. who found herself constantly stressed and overwhelmed by the pressures of her job. Every deadline, every challenging conversation felt like an emotional roller coaster. She was constantly reacting to external pressures, and her inner peace was slipping away. But over time, Sarah began practicing Stoic principles, focusing less on trying to control the world around her and more on controlling her internal reactions. She learned to step back and evaluate situations calmly, reminding herself that her peace wasn't dependent on her circumstances. Slowly but surely, she found that her emotional responses became more measured, and her sense of inner peace began to grow stronger. The more she focused on her thoughts and reactions, the less the chaos of her job affected her. This transformation didn't happen overnight, but through consistent practice, Sarah began to experience the profound inner peace that the Stoics spoke of. This is where modern Stoicism can really change the game for us. We live in an age where external stressors, whether it's work, relationships, or global events, can easily overwhelm us, but we have a choice. We can choose to react emotionally, letting stress and anxiety take over, or we can focus inwardly and develop a resilient inner peace that remains untouched by the turmoil around us. How much of your energy do you spend reacting to the unpredictable events in your life? What would happen if you made a conscious effort to respond with calm, no matter what happens? The Stoic principle of focusing on your inner state empowers you to do just that. By developing this practice, you stop feeling at the mercy of the world and start taking control of your emotional well-being. The key to achieving this inner peace is simple but powerful. It's about understanding what you can and cannot control. When you focus on what is within your control, your thoughts, your responses, and your actions, you create a solid foundation of peace that is not shaken by external chaos. You stop letting the ups and downs of life dictate your emotions, and instead you become anchored in your own sense of calm and purpose. The Stoics were masters of this, and their lessons are just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This mindset shift allows you to stay unshaken by the world around you, regardless of how chaotic it may become. Ultimately, the lesson here is that cultivating inner peace is not about escaping life's difficulties, but rather about changing the way we respond to them. When you focus on your thoughts and reactions, and when you stop allowing the outside world to disturb your inner calm, you develop a strength that is invulnerable to external forces. So, how can you cultivate more inner peace in your own life? How can you start focusing on what's within your control and letting go of what's not? The more you practice, the more you'll find yourself grounded and resilient, no matter what life throws your way. And that is the true essence of emotional mastery, being able to maintain your peace, regardless of what happens around you. If today's exploration of Stoicism and relationships resonated with you, I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Or, if you found these insights particularly helpful, just type "awesome" to let us know. Number 6. Transforming negative emotions into constructive actions. Negative emotions like anger, frustration, and stress are an inevitable part of the human experience. We all face situations where these emotions can overwhelm us, causing us to react impulsively, often leading to regret or missteps. However, the key to emotional mastery, especially in line with Stoic principles, is not to allow these emotions to control you. Instead of being swept away by them, the Stoics teach us to transform them into constructive actions. Rather than letting anger, frustration, or stress consume us, we can view them as valuable signals, signs that it's time to reevaluate our current circumstances and choose a more constructive, purposeful path forward. In today's fast-paced world where we are constantly reacting to external triggers, it's easy to let negative emotions hijack our responses. But the Stoic philosophy reminds us that we have the power to pause, reflect, and then respond thoughtfully. This is the very essence of emotional mastery. Realizing that while you cannot always control what happens to you, you do have full control over your reaction to those events. Instead of letting anger take over or letting frustration cloud your judgment, you can use those emotions as opportunities to make deliberate choices that are aligned with your values. Think back to moments in your life when you've experienced anger, frustration, or stress. It's easy to get caught up in those emotions, letting them control your actions in the heat of the moment. How often have you said something you later regretted, or reacted impulsively in a way that only escalated the situation? Stoicism offers a different approach, one that asks you to channel that emotional energy into positive, constructive action. For example, if you're frustrated at work, you might feel the urge to lash out or shut down, but instead of acting on that impulse, take a step back. What is that frustration telling you? Perhaps it's a sign that something needs to change, or maybe it's pointing to a challenge you need to overcome. When you transform those negative emotions into action, you regain control, and what could have been a setback becomes an opportunity for growth and improvement. This shift in thinking is a powerful tool for emotional mastery, and while it takes practice, it's something that can be cultivated over time. The Stoics didn't encourage ignoring or suppressing emotions, but rather they urged us to acknowledge them and understand their deeper causes. Emotions are not something to fear or avoid, but something to understand. When faced with negative emotions, the Stoics recommend pausing and reflecting, examining why we feel this way and then deciding how to act in a manner that aligns with our true nature. Marcus Aurelius, another prominent Stoic philosopher, wisely said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This powerful statement suggests that obstacles, whether they are emotional, mental, or external, are not things to avoid or resent. Instead, they can be the very things that propel us toward growth and improvement. This shift in perspective is incredibly important in today's world, where it's common to view challenges and negative emotions as roadblocks rather than opportunities. The more you practice this, the stronger you become, building what the Stoics called an iron mind. Every time you face adversity, you have the chance to either be consumed by negative emotions or use them as fuel for positive action. The latter path is what leads to true emotional resilience. When you start to view emotions like anger, frustration, and stress as powerful tools for personal growth, you take control of your life. You move from being a slave to your emotions to being their master. In modern life, we are constantly faced with challenges that can trigger emotional responses. Whether it's an argument with a loved one, a difficult situation at work, or the inevitable hurdles that life throws our way, emotions can easily take charge if we let them. However, every time you transform these emotions into positive action, you move closer to mastering your emotional state and living a life driven by purpose, intention, and resilience. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius also said, the tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say or think or do, only what you do. When you focus on your response rather than the emotions themselves, you reclaim your power and move forward with a sense of clarity and direction. So, the next time you're confronted with a challenging emotional experience, take a deep breath, step back, and ask yourself how you can turn that emotion into an opportunity for growth. This practice of transforming negative emotions into constructive actions will help you not only regain control over your emotions, but also help you live a life marked by greater clarity, focus, and strength. Number 7. Living by Stoic virtues such as justice and self-discipline. Living by Stoic virtues such as justice, wisdom, and self-discipline offers a powerful framework for emotional mastery and a life of integrity. The Stoics believed that cultivating these virtues was essential to maintaining inner peace and responding to life's challenges with composure and balance. When you live by these principles, you create a life that is aligned with your highest values, which in turn helps you respond to difficult situations in a way that fosters emotional stability. Think about the virtues of justice and wisdom, for example. By practicing justice, you develop a deep sense of fairness and empathy, which guides you in your interactions with others and allows you to act with integrity, no matter the situation. Wisdom, on the other hand, teaches you to make thoughtful decisions based on reason, not impulsive emotions, helping you navigate life's ups and downs with clarity. And self-discipline? It's the cornerstone that allows you to stay focused on what truly matters, even in the face of distractions or temptation. When you practice self-discipline, you gain the ability to control your impulses, avoiding knee-jerk reactions that can often lead to emotional turmoil. Consider the story of a successful entrepreneur, John, who faced a difficult decision when his business was struggling. On one hand, he could have cut corners to make a quick profit, potentially harming his employees and reputation. On the other hand, he could choose to invest his time and resources into a more ethical, long-term solution, despite the risk. John decided to prioritize Stoic virtues, justice, wisdom, and self-discipline. He chose the path that aligned with his values, which meant making a difficult decision that required patience, integrity, and a steady resolve. As a result, not only did his business survive, but he earned the trust and respect of his employees and customers. This decision, rooted in Stoic principles, didn't just help him overcome a challenge, it strengthened his character and reinforced his emotional stability. In that moment, he embodied the Stoic idea that the true measure of success is not external wealth or recognition, but the ability to live virtuously, no matter the external circumstances. In modern life, these Stoic virtues can be just as powerful. Think about how often we are faced with decisions that challenge our values, whether in our personal relationships, at work, or in the face of social pressures. How often do we find ourselves making decisions based on what's easiest or most immediately gratifying, rather than what is right or wise? The Stoic virtues offer us a different way of approaching these challenges. By prioritizing justice, wisdom, and self-discipline, you can create a life that is consistent with your highest ideals and values, reducing the emotional turmoil that often arises when you compromise on your integrity. For instance, when you practice justice in your relationships, you create a foundation of trust and respect, which helps you navigate difficult conversations with more emotional poise. Similarly, when you cultivate wisdom, you learn to make decisions that serve your long-term well-being, rather than reacting out of fear or desire for quick rewards. And when you practice self-discipline, you develop the strength to stay true to your values, even when it's tempting to act impulsively. The Stoics understood that emotional mastery isn't just about controlling your reactions in the moment. It's about living in a way that is in harmony with your values. As Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, famously said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This quote emphasizes that true freedom comes not from external circumstances, but from the ability to live according to your principles, regardless of what happens around you. When you live by Stoic virtues, you build the inner strength to face life's challenges with confidence and emotional poise. You don't need to rely on external events or other people to maintain your peace. You can create that peace within yourself through the choices you make every day. In conclusion, living according to Stoic virtues like justice, wisdom, and self-discipline provides a solid moral foundation for emotional mastery. These virtues empower you to navigate life's challenges with integrity, composure, and confidence, regardless of external circumstances. When you make these virtues a priority in your life, you create a strong sense of alignment with your values, which reduces emotional turmoil and helps you maintain inner peace. By living by these principles, you not only cultivate emotional poise and resilience, but you also build a life that is meaningful and fulfilling, grounded in the virtues that matter most. By incorporating these key Stoic principles into your daily life, you can transform your emotional landscape, mastering your reactions and achieving lasting peace. Each of these steps allows you to reclaim control over your emotions, fostering a sense of calm no matter the external circumstances. 5 ways to deal with people who don't respect you. All right, let's get real. Ever notice how some people just love to test your boundaries? They interrupt, make passive-aggressive comments, or act like your time and feelings are optional. And we're supposed to just smile and let it slide? Not today. If you're done putting up with people who don't respect you, this video is for you. Today, I'm breaking down brutally honest, maybe a little controversial, ways to handle disrespect without losing your cool and without sacrificing your self-respect. So buckle up, because by the end of this, you'll have every tool you need to show people exactly where the line is drawn. Let's dive in. Number 1. Embrace the silent stare. All right, let's start with one of my all-time favorite, slightly savage techniques, the silent stare. Now, you might be thinking, really? Just staring? Yes, trust me on this. When someone's being openly rude or disrespectful, nothing throws them off more than a long, calm, completely unbothered stare. Here's why it works. People who disrespect others are usually looking for a reaction. They want you to stammer, get flustered, maybe even snap back. They're looking to drag you into their drama, to make you question yourself or feel small. But when you just look at them, no words, no expressions, suddenly the power dynamic flips. Now, I get it. This might sound a little passive-aggressive, but hear me out. There's something deeply unsettling about someone who doesn't give the reaction they were expecting. When you hold a steady, silent stare, you're saying without a word, "I'm not playing this game with you." It's a way of reclaiming control without even lifting a finger. Sometimes that silent stare is the clearest, most powerful no you'll ever say. Let me tell you about a time this technique worked like magic. I was in a group meeting where one guy kept talking over me, cutting me off like he was on a mission. You know the type, loud, overconfident, thinking everyone's there to listen to his wisdom. I tried interjecting, tried being polite, but he wouldn't stop. So finally I just looked at him. I leaned back in my chair, crossed my arms and held his gaze. No blinking, no expression. Just stared for 5 solid seconds. I said nothing. You could feel the tension build, and the best part, everyone else at the table started looking at him too, wondering what he'd do. You know what happened? He got uncomfortable, stumbled over his words, and suddenly looked anywhere but at me. He didn't interrupt me for the rest of the meeting. That silent stare did more than any words could have. And it didn't just stop his behavior in the moment. He actually started treating me with more respect after that, as if he'd finally realized I wasn't someone he could just bulldoze. Sometimes you have to show people who you are without saying a word. Let's dig a little deeper. because this is more than just a power move. When you embrace the silent stare, it's like a reminder to them and to yourself that you don't have to dance to someone else's tune. You don't owe anyone an emotional reaction, and you don't have to prove yourself to people who don't see your worth. This is about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. Too often, when someone is disrespectful, we feel an urge to defend ourselves, to make our case, or worse, to let it slide because we don't want to create a scene. But the silent stare, it's not about being aggressive, it's about showing that you're grounded, unbothered, and unapologetically in control of your own emotions. It's also about accountability. People who are used to disrespecting others often do it without even thinking. They've never been called out, never faced real consequences for treating others poorly. When you give them that silent, deadpan look, it's like you're holding up a mirror. Suddenly, they're left alone with their own behavior. You're not telling them they're wrong, you're showing them. And most people don't like to see themselves like that. That's why this works. I've noticed that this silent stare tactic does more than just get the other person to back off. It also strengthens your sense of self-worth. When you stand there silent and still, you're reminding yourself that their words or actions can't shake you. I used to be the type who'd nervously laugh off rude comments or try to explain myself when someone questioned my choices. But honestly, that just drained my energy and made me feel worse. Learning to just look at someone, to let that silence fill the room without backing down, was a game changer. It feels like a small act of defiance, a quiet but powerful declaration of self-respect. So, if someone's being rude, pushing boundaries, or making you feel less than, try the silent stare. Just look at them and let them feel the weight of your calm. You'll be surprised at how uncomfortable it makes them and how empowered it makes you feel. Number 2, embrace silence as your answer. Here's a little secret weapon that's incredibly underrated: silence. When someone disrespects you, one of the most powerful responses is no response at all. Now, I know what you're thinking. Silence feels passive, almost like you're letting them get away with it, right? But here's the truth. Silence is far from passive. It's a choice. And sometimes it's the boldest, loudest answer you can give. When someone's throwing negativity at you, they're trying to pull you into their drama, to make you feel small or defensive. But when you don't engage, when you just let their words hang in the air without responding, it forces them to sit alone with their own behavior. And that silence, it's deafening. Now, here's why this works so well. People who disrespect others usually expect a reaction. They're looking for a fight, a justification, or just some kind of validation for their own behavior. But silence says, I'm not giving you my energy. By not engaging, you're keeping control of the conversation and letting them know, I'm not here to entertain your disrespect. Sometimes, the most powerful way to communicate is by not communicating. It's a quiet, subtle reminder that they're not worth your time or words. I remember once being in a situation with someone who just couldn't resist making these little digs. You know, the kind of person who hides their insults as jokes and tries to pass it off as harmless fun. So one day he says something completely unnecessary about my work, clearly just to get a rise out of me. Normally, I would have tried to explain myself, or maybe even fired back a comment, but this time I just looked at him, raised an eyebrow, and said absolutely nothing. I let his words hang in the air, let him feel that awkward, silent pause. And you know what? He didn't know what to do. He looked at me, then looked down, mumbled something, and moved on. That moment was the last time he tried pulling that with me. It was like he realized that if I wasn't reacting, there was no power to be gained. And that's the beauty of silence. It starves disrespect of the attention it craves. Here's the deeper message. When you choose silence, you're choosing yourself. You're saying, I value my peace over your opinion of me. And that's not just empowering, it's revolutionary. So often, we feel pressured to respond, to explain ourselves, to defend our choices or prove our worth to people who frankly aren't interested in respecting us. But by embracing silence, you're refusing to play by their rules. You're taking a stand without lifting a finger. You're letting them know, you're not worth my words. And it's not just about controlling the situation, it's about reclaiming your energy. Silence is like a filter. It keeps your peace intact by blocking out the negativity that others try to project onto you. The moment you stop feeling the need to respond to every rude comment, every passive-aggressive jab, you free yourself. You stop giving people access to your inner world, and you start living on your own terms. I'll be real with you. Learning to use silence wasn't easy for me. I used to think that if I didn't defend myself, I'd look weak or passive. But I started noticing something interesting. Every time I responded to people who disrespected me, I'd end up drained and frustrated. But when I held my tongue, when I let their comments pass by like white noise, I realized that I felt lighter, stronger, more in control. It's like I took back a piece of my power every time I chose silence over reaction. So here's my challenge to you. The next time someone disrespects you, just pause, take a deep breath, look them in the eye, and say nothing. Let your silence speak for itself. You might be surprised by how uncomfortable they get and how freeing it feels for you. Embrace silence as your answer, because sometimes saying nothing is the most powerful statement of all. Now that you've made it this far in the video, I encourage you to comment "Silence is power" below. This is a great way to show that you're learning the profound lessons about using silence as a powerful tool in life. Take a moment to reflect and share your thoughts. Number 3. Stop explaining your choices. All right, this one's going to hit home for a lot of us. Stop explaining your choices. Seriously, how many times have you made a decision for yourself, only for someone to immediately start asking you why? Why did you do that? Why didn't you go to that event? Why did you take that job? People seem to think they're entitled to an explanation for everything we do. And here's the honest truth. They're not. Your choices are your own, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live your life. It might sound controversial, but let's face it, if someone's questioning your choices, they're often not looking to understand, they're looking to judge. They're looking to poke holes, to make you doubt yourself, or to feel better about their own decisions by making you second-guess yours. And you know what? You don't have to play along. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim your autonomy and show them that your life isn't up for debate. Let's dig a bit deeper into why people feel so entitled to an explanation in the first place. When people question your choices, it's often because your decision challenges their view of the world. Maybe you're taking a risk they're too scared to take, or maybe you're stepping out of the norm they find so comforting. Your independence or willingness to do things differently can make them uncomfortable, and asking you to explain is their way of trying to fit you back into their comfort zone. But here's the kicker. Just because they're uncomfortable doesn't mean you're responsible for reassuring them. Your life isn't a public service announcement. You don't have to justify your choices to anyone. I remember when I decided to switch careers, moving from a safe job to something I was actually passionate about. But that came with a lot more risk. The moment people found out, it was like I'd announced I was moving to Mars. I kept getting asked, "Why would you leave a stable job? How are you going to make it work?" At first, I'd try to explain, talk about how I wanted something more fulfilling, how I had a plan. But I quickly realized that no matter what I said, it never felt like enough. The more I explained, the more people questioned me, poking holes and making me feel like I needed to prove myself. Then one day I decided to try something new. When someone asked, "But why would you leave that job?" I simply replied, "Because I wanted to." No extra details, no breakdown of my strategy, just a simple answer, and let me tell you, it felt amazing. The silence that followed was everything. People didn't know how to respond because I'd taken away their power to question my choices. And you know what? They eventually stopped asking. Here's the real beauty of not explaining yourself. It's freeing. It's you standing in your own truth, knowing that your decisions are enough simply because you've made them. When you stop justifying your actions, you give yourself permission to live authentically, without the weight of other people's expectations. You stop wasting your energy on explanations and start pouring it into actually living the life you want. There's a powerful lesson here. Your life doesn't need an audience vote. Not every decision has to be analyzed or approved by others. And when you stop explaining yourself, you're letting people know, "I'm confident enough in my choices that I don't need your approval." Think about it. When was the last time you saw a truly confident person breaking down their decisions for others? Probably never, because people who own their lives don't need external validation. They know that the only approval that matters is their own. Look, I've been there. I used to be the person who'd give a full PowerPoint presentation on why I was doing something just to get people on board. But over time I realized that explaining myself to everyone was only making me second-guess my choices. So I made a pact with myself. If someone asks me about a decision, I'll answer briefly, maybe give a sentence or two. If they push for more, I smile and move on. And you know what? Life got a lot lighter. The more I stopped explaining, the more confident I became in my own decisions. So here's my challenge to you. The next time someone questions your choices, resist the urge to explain. Just say, "Because I wanted to," or "That's what felt right for me." Then let the silence speak. Watch how powerful that simple statement is. You'll feel stronger, more in control, and more at peace with yourself. And the best part, you'll realize that your choices don't need anyone else's stamp of approval. They're valid simply because you made them. Number 4, keep your distance. Let's be real. Sometimes the best way to handle people who don't respect you is to just keep your distance. I know it sounds harsh, maybe even a little cold, but here's the hard truth. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. And if someone's consistently disrespecting you, one of the healthiest moves you can make is to give yourself some space from them. This doesn't mean you hate them or that you're being dramatic. It means you respect yourself enough to protect your energy. Keeping your distance isn't about being mean or ignoring people. It's about choosing where and how you spend your time and energy. Imagine your life as a limited success club. Not everyone gets a VIP pass. If someone's constantly crossing your boundaries, making you feel small or just radiating negativity, why on earth would you keep them close? It's okay to step back. In fact, it's crucial. Distance can give you the clarity to see things as they really are, free from the fog of emotional manipulation or guilt. Think about it. When you keep people who disrespect you close, it's like inviting them to a mental and emotional buffet, where they take, criticize and judge as much as they want, and then we wonder why we feel drained, anxious or frustrated. Giving yourself space from these people is an act of self-preservation. It's about protecting your mental health, preserving your peace, and making room for people who actually respect and uplift you. Letting go of the guilt around distancing yourself can be liberating. You're not obligated to keep disrespectful people in your orbit. I'll share a little story. I once had a friend who would always find a way to make snide comments about every choice I made. My career, my relationships, even my taste in music. At first, I thought, well, that's just how they are. Maybe I'm overreacting. So I kept them around, kept trying to brush it off, thinking it wasn't that big of a deal. But over time, those little jabs started getting under my skin. I realized I was walking on eggshells, always bracing myself for the next criticism, the next joke that felt more like a punch. One day I decided to try a different approach. I didn't make a big announcement or call them out. I just started limiting my time with them. Instead of seeing them every week, I'd see them maybe once a month. And guess what? I felt lighter, I felt freer. And in that space, I realized just how toxic that friendship had become. Distancing myself gave me the mental clarity to see that I deserved better. Friends who would build me up instead of tearing me down. Here's the thing. Some people are going to tell you that keeping your distance is selfish. They'll say, but they're family, or you've been friends for years. It can feel uncomfortable, maybe even a little taboo, to admit that someone you know well just isn't good for you. Society tells us to be loyal, forgiving and nice, but at what cost? Here's a little secret. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's necessary. You're not here to be anyone's emotional punching bag or their constant source of validation. Sometimes, the best way to show someone you've had enough is by simply stepping back. Here's where it gets deep. Keeping your distance is a powerful reminder that you are your own priority. You don't have to play the role someone else has assigned to you. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, your time, or your emotions. When you put a little space between yourself and disrespectful people, you're making a statement that your well-being comes first. And that's not just self-care, it's self-respect. Distance also gives you the chance to refocus and focus on the relationships that matter, the ones that genuinely uplift you. Think about it. The more time you spend around people who respect you, the more confident and fulfilled you feel. The less time you spend around those who tear you down, the less room they have to impact your thoughts, your mood, and your life. I used to feel so guilty about distancing myself from people, even if they weren't treating me well. I'd think, what if they think I don't care? Or maybe, what if I'm overreacting? But over time, I learned that distancing myself wasn't just about removing negativity, it was about creating space for growth. When I started giving myself permission to distance from disrespectful people, I felt a new kind of freedom. I had more energy, more peace, and a clearer vision of who I wanted in my life. So here's my challenge to you. Think about the people in your life who constantly disrespect you, who make you feel small or drained. Then ask yourself, do they really deserve this much access to me? Number 5. Hold your head high. All right, let's talk about an old-school classic that never goes out of style. Holding your head high. Now, I know this might sound like generic advice, but trust me, this one is pure gold when dealing with people who don't respect you. Here's the thing. When someone is disrespectful, they're banking on making you feel small. They want you to doubt yourself, to lower your eyes, to shrink into yourself. But when you stand tall and hold your head high, you're saying without a word, I know exactly who I am, and nothing you say or do will make me feel less. Here's what's powerful about this. Confidence makes people uncomfortable, especially people who disrespect others. Why? Because they rely on the idea that their words or actions have the power to influence you, to control you in some way. When you refuse to let their disrespect touch you, when you literally stand taller and hold your head up high, you're showing them that they don't have the power to bring you down. You're unbreakable. And people who thrive on disrespect don't know what to do with that. It throws them off balance. It makes them question their power, not yours. I remember being in a situation with someone who just couldn't resist throwing little insults my way every time we met. You know the type. Always a smirk, always a joke that feels more like an attack. I used to try and brush it off, but honestly, it got to me. I found myself starting to dread being around them, feeling like I had to defend myself every time. But then one day, I decided I was done feeling small. I showed up, shoulders back, head high, and every time they made one of their little comments, I just looked them in the eye, smiled, and carried on like nothing had happened. And you know what happened? They actually started backing off. It's like they could sense that their comments weren't reaching me anymore, that I was too far above that nonsense. Suddenly, their power faded. There's something magnetic about holding your head high. It's like a silent force field that says, I'm untouchable. Now, here's where it gets a little spicy. People who don't respect you often hate seeing you confident. It messes with their worldview. They want to believe they're above you, that they've got something on you, and when you walk around confidently, it disrupts that narrative. To them, it's almost offensive. Society doesn't always know what to do with people who are unapologetically sure of themselves, especially when they refuse to let others' negativity define them. And let's be real, that can make you a bit of a target. But here's the thing, holding your head high isn't about them, it's about you. It's about living as if you're fully aware of your worth, as if you've got nothing to prove, and that can feel like a radical act of self-respect. When you hold your head high, you're making a statement about your self-worth. You're declaring that no matter what, you see yourself as valuable, as deserving of respect, as inherently enough. And here's the deeper message. Self-worth isn't something you earn from others, it's something you claim for yourself. No matter what others think or say, you're walking through life as if you already have everything you need within you, because you do. Holding your head high is a constant reminder that you're the main character in your own story, that no one else's opinion has the right to make you feel less. And the beauty of it? The more you practice this, the less the disrespect of others will affect you. Even register? You'll be too busy living in your own lane, too secure in who you are to be bothered by anyone else's attempts to knock you down. This didn't come naturally to me. I used to be the person who'd slouch, avoid eye contact, and just kind of shrink myself when people were critical or dismissive. It felt safer to disappear in a way. But over time I started noticing that every time I held my head high, every time I refused to let someone's negativity seep into my spirit, I felt stronger. It was like I was reminding myself over and over that I didn't need anyone's approval to feel worthy. I could simply stand tall in who I was. Holding your head high isn't just about physical posture. It's about mental posture too. Walk into every room like you belong there. Don't shrink yourself to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. If someone makes a snarky comment, let it roll off you. They're not seeing the real you. They're projecting their own insecurities. So why let it bother you? Here's my challenge to you. Next time you feel disrespected, whether it's a subtle dig or a full-on insult, don't react. Instead, take a deep breath, pull your shoulders back, and keep your head high. Look them straight in the eye as if to say, I see you, but I'm above this. You'll feel a rush of confidence, a sense of peace that comes from knowing that their words hold no power over you. Holding your head high is more than just good posture. It's a powerful, silent statement of your self-respect. It says, I know who I am, I value who I am, and nothing you say can change that. Because at the end of the day, respect starts with you. The more you respect yourself, the less room there is for anyone else's disrespect to stick. Stand tall, own your worth, and remember, you're worth every bit of that confidence. If you are ready to stand firm and face every challenge in life, if you are ready to never give up in the face of hardship, leave a comment below with the words, I am always proud to stand firm. Stay tuned, because there is an important moment that you will feel, a moment that you definitely do not want to miss. The best part, the more you focus on your self-esteem, the more you attract people who see your worth, people who lift you up instead of tearing you down. It all starts with owning your power and letting things happen as they should. So keep your head up, accept silence when it serves you, and never apologize for walking away from something that doesn't serve you. Until next time, take care, be strong, and remember, respect starts with you. Calm amidst storms, mastering emotions in the modern Stoic spirit. Mastering emotions is crucial in today's fast-paced world, where stress and uncertainty are constant. Emotional control allows us to respond thoughtfully, maintain clarity, and make decisions aligned with our values. Stoic philosophy offers timeless wisdom, teaching us how to face life's challenges with resilience, composure, and inner peace. By embracing Stoic principles, we can navigate modern life's ups and downs, finding strength in the face of adversity while maintaining emotional balance. Number 1. The basics of Stoic philosophy. Stoicism is not just an ancient philosophy, it's a powerful way of life that teaches you how to respond to life's challenges with calm, clarity, and resilience. At its core, Stoicism is about understanding what is in your control and what is not. It's about accepting the reality of the world around you while choosing to focus on how you respond to it. Imagine the chaos of a stormy sea, the wind howling, the waves crashing. You can't control the storm, but you can control your ship. That's the essence of Stoic thought. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These words aren't just advice from a distant ruler. They are a call to action for you today. What do you do when life throws hardships your way? Do you react with frustration, anger, or helplessness? Or do you recognize that the only thing you truly control is how you respond? The Stoic approach isn't about denying emotions, but about understanding them, about facing them head-on and using your reason to decide your next move. This is how Stoicism helps individuals overcome suffering and difficulties in life. It teaches you that suffering is not something to be avoided, but something to be understood. It's not the event itself that causes distress, it's the judgment you place on it. Think about a time when something went wrong in your life. Maybe it was a missed opportunity, a personal setback, or a sudden change in plans, how did you react? Did you let that one event dictate the rest of your day, your mood, or your perspective on the world? Or did you find a way to accept it, learn from it, and move forward? That's the Stoic secret, the art of transforming your perspective. When you master this, you begin to navigate the stormy seas of life with much more grace. The Stoics didn't aim to avoid challenges or pretend that life was always going to be easy. Instead, they embraced the difficulties of life and saw them as opportunities to practice virtue. The obstacle is the way, as the famous Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said. When something blocks your path, it's not an obstacle, it's a way forward. The challenges you face today could very well be the lessons you need to grow into the person you were meant to be. When we experience challenges, our instinct is often to resist, to fight back, or to complain about our circumstances. But what if you took a step back and asked yourself, what can I learn from this? Or how can I respond in a way that reflects my values, my strength, and my inner peace? Stoicism teaches us that difficulties are inevitable, but they don't have to define us. They are opportunities to practice virtues like patience, courage, and wisdom. Through this, we can develop an unshakable sense of inner calm, regardless of external circumstances. Have you ever noticed how, when you change your approach to a problem, the problem itself seems to change? That's not a coincidence. The way you respond to the world around you shapes your experience of it. And this is why Stoicism is so incredibly powerful. It offers a way to master your emotions and not let them control you. The true power of Stoicism lies in this emotional mastery. When you stop being a slave to your emotions, you open yourself up to a life of peace, clarity, and unshakable strength. You begin to see challenges as opportunities and suffering as a chance for growth. Life's storms may still come, but you will meet them with a calm and steady mind, and as Marcus Aurelius so wisely put it, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. So what kind of thoughts are you choosing today? Are they ones that build strength and resilience, or ones that drain your energy and peace? The path to mastering emotions and living in accordance with Stoic principles isn't an easy one, but it's worth every step. Embrace the challenge and watch how your life transforms. How might you begin to practice Stoic thinking in your own life today? Number 2, the spirit of calm amidst the storm. In the midst of life's storms, when crises, stress, and high-pressure situations seem to overwhelm us, the ability to remain calm becomes an invaluable skill. To truly grasp what it means to be calm, we must first explore the concept of inner peace. Inner peace is not merely the absence of chaos, but rather the ability to maintain a clear, composed state of mind, regardless of external circumstances. The Stoics, in their wisdom, taught that tranquility comes not from avoiding challenges or difficulties, but from developing a mental resilience, an iron mind that remains steady in the face of adversity. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This profound insight is a cornerstone of Stoicism, showing us that while we cannot always control the external world, we can control our reactions to it. By embracing the Stoic principles, we learn to shift our focus away from things beyond our control and instead cultivate an inner strength that shields us from emotional turmoil. In practical terms, when faced with stress, rather than allowing ourselves to be swept away by panic or anger, we can choose to step back, reflect, and respond thoughtfully. This approach allows us to weather life's storms with a sense of purpose and equanimity. Just as a seasoned sailor remains calm during a storm by focusing on the horizon and adjusting the sails, We too can find clarity and stability by turning our attention inward and relying on the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. In modern life, where the pace of change and uncertainty can be overwhelming, the ability to stay grounded is more crucial than ever. Whether navigating personal challenges, professional pressures, or the collective stress of a fast-moving world, the Stoic mindset offers a timeless guide to mastering emotions. The key lies in recognizing that while external events are often beyond our control, our emotional response is always within our grasp. By adopting this mindset, we empower ourselves to not only survive, but to thrive in the face of life's inevitable storms. Through the practice of Stoic exercises such as journaling, mindfulness, and reflection, we can train ourselves to build an unshakable inner peace that will serve us well in all aspects of life. In conclusion, the Stoic path to calm amidst the storm is one of deliberate practice and mental discipline. It is not about eliminating stress or challenges, but about cultivating an iron mind that remains steady no matter the circumstances. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By mastering our minds, we can maintain our peace and navigate the storms of life with grace and confidence. We not only survive in difficult times, but also rise up strong, drawing strength from ourselves to overcome all storms. Share your story and show the world that you are the master of your own emotions and destiny. Number 3. Why mastering emotions is crucial in the modern world. In today's world, where life moves at an overwhelming pace and stress seems to be everywhere, mastering your emotions has never been more crucial. You've likely experienced moments where your emotions took over, whether it was anger, frustration, or fear, and those feelings affected the decisions you made. But what if you could learn to manage those emotions, to feel the same intensity but not be controlled by it? That's where Stoicism comes in. The Stoic secret to mastering emotions is not about suppressing them, but rather controlling how we respond to them. The ancient Stoics, including Marcus Aurelius, practiced this every day. They understood that emotions, while natural, can cloud our judgment and lead us to make choices based on impulse rather than wisdom. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This powerful idea is at the core of Stoic philosophy. By focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts, our actions, and our responses, we can create a sense of inner peace, even amidst the chaos of modern life. Have you ever stopped to think about what you can actually control in a given situation? Maybe it's a stressful meeting at work, or a disagreement with a loved one. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, thinking that we need to control every aspect of these situations. But Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and to accept what we can't. When you let go of the need to control everything, you free up mental energy and emotional space to focus on making calm, thoughtful decisions. The key is learning to detach yourself from external events. It's not the situation that disturbs you, it's how you respond to it. By accepting what can't be changed and directing your energy toward what you can control, you create emotional balance. For instance, let's say you're dealing with an unexpected change at work. The natural emotional response might be frustration or anxiety, but by practicing Stoic techniques, you can step back, acknowledge your feelings, and then ask yourself, what is within my control here? Maybe you can't control the change itself, but you can control how you adapt to it and how you respond to others around you. This shift in perspective isn't just a mental exercise, it's a way of living with purpose and emotional resilience. In fact, many successful people today, from entrepreneurs to leaders, credit their ability to stay calm under pressure to the application of Stoic principles. They've learned to master their emotions rather than let them dictate their actions. But it's not easy, is it? It takes practice. So, think about your own life for a moment. Are there situations where your emotions often take the wheel and lead you down a path you later regret? The Stoic way teaches us that we can train ourselves to be the masters of our emotions, not their servants. The beauty of this approach is that it's not about never feeling anger or sadness. It's about understanding how to work with those emotions in a way that doesn't cause harm. When you start to focus on what you can control, your thoughts, reactions, and attitudes, you'll begin to feel less at the mercy of your emotions and more in control of your destiny. Think of it like steering a ship. There will be storms, but if you know how to steer your emotions, you can navigate through the rough waters with strength and purpose. So, ask yourself, how can you apply the Stoic teachings of emotional control in your own life? What's one situation where you can start focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't? By practicing these techniques regularly, you'll find that your emotional responses become more measured and deliberate, bringing a sense of calm and clarity even in the midst of life's challenges. Ultimately, the Stoic approach to mastering emotions isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving, no matter what life throws your way. So, as we move forward in this journey, remember, the power to control your emotions lies within you, and with practice, you can achieve the calm and clarity you seek. Number 4. Gaining emotional self-control in a world of chaos. In today's world, emotional self-control seems like an almost impossible task. Between the pressure of work, the constant demands from family, the expectations from society, and the unrelenting pace of technological advances, it feels like we're always on edge. Sound familiar? These modern challenges stir up stress levels, leaving us feeling overwhelmed and out of balance. But what if I told you that the Stoics, those ancient philosophers, have a powerful secret to mastering emotions that can help us today, no matter how chaotic life gets? In fact, Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." So, how do we tap into this timeless wisdom to build emotional resilience? It starts with understanding that we cannot control everything happening around us, work deadlines, family issues, or social pressures, but we can control how we respond to them. The key to gaining emotional self-control lies not in suppressing our feelings, but in learning to manage them. Think about it. When you're at work and everything seems to be piling up, do you let frustration take over, or do you take a deep breath and assess the situation with clarity? The Stoics would advise the latter. By practicing mindfulness and reflection, you can create a space between the stimulus, the stressful situation, and your response. Imagine taking a moment before reacting, stepping back and asking yourself, what's in my control here? What's not? How can I choose to respond rather than react? This is exactly what Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, meant when he said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things." Now, let's apply this to your family life. How many times have you found yourself getting into heated discussions with loved ones, only to regret it later? Stoicism teaches us the power of patience and perspective. Before jumping into an argument, ask yourself, will this matter tomorrow? Am I allowing my emotions to control me, or am I controlling my emotions? When you approach relationships with this mindset, you allow yourself to communicate with calmness, empathy, and clarity, rather than being swept away by anger or frustration. And what about technology? In our modern world, where we're constantly bombarded by notifications, social media updates, and the fast-paced news cycle, it can feel like we're living in a constant state of emotional upheaval. The Stoic secret here is to detach from the noise, to focus on what truly matters, and to recognize that not every piece of information deserves your emotional investment. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This reminds us that even in the face of distractions and difficulties, we can find purpose and meaning by focusing on the things that align with our values. So how do you put these Stoic lessons into practice? Start by examining your daily routine. How often do you let external events dictate your mood? The more we practice self-awareness and the Stoic principles of self-control, the easier it becomes to navigate life's chaos. It doesn't mean life will be free of stress, but it does mean that we have the power to control how we face it. Remember, emotional self-control is a skill you can develop. Every time you practice restraint and respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively, you're strengthening your emotional resilience. So, in this fast-paced world, I invite you to reflect on your own life. How can you apply Stoic wisdom to your daily challenges? By doing so, you'll begin to master the art of emotional self-control and embrace life's storms with grace and inner peace. Number 5. Lessons from great Stoic philosophers. Stoicism, in its purest form, is not just about enduring life's challenges, but mastering how we respond to them. The great Stoic philosophers, whose wisdom has transcended time, have shared powerful lessons that we can apply today in our modern lives to maintain mental strength and navigate the storms that inevitably come our way. One such philosopher, Marcus Aurelius, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by external events, be it work pressure, personal challenges, or the unpredictable circumstances life throws at us. But this quote reminds us that while we can't control everything around us, we do have the power to control how we respond. How often do we let stress or fear take control of our minds? Have you found yourself swept up in the emotional currents of life, only to look back and wish you had reacted differently? Marcus Aurelius teaches us that when we focus on our internal strength, our mindset, we reclaim control over our lives. In a world full of distractions, the modern Stoic lesson is about developing inner resilience. Another Stoic philosopher, Epictetus, reminded us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Think about a recent situation where you faced a challenge. Did you let it dictate your emotional state, or did you take a step back and assess how best to respond? Epictetus's wisdom helps us realize that our emotional reactions are within our control. When we change our approach to challenges, we change our experience of them. This mindset shift can turn obstacles into opportunities for growth and learning. There's also the timeless wisdom of Seneca, who said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." It's so easy to get caught up in the what-ifs of life, the imagined scenarios that keep us up at night. Yet, more often than not, the fear we create in our minds is far worse than the reality we eventually face. How many times have you worried about something only to realize it wasn't as bad as you thought? Seneca's lesson teaches us to ground ourselves in the present moment, focusing on what we can control and letting go of unnecessary fears. In our modern world, it's easy to get caught up in constant worry, but by embracing the Stoic practice of focusing on the present, we can overcome the imagined storms that cloud our minds. Let me share a story of a modern-day application of Stoic principles. Take the example of someone like Tim Ferriss, author and entrepreneur, who openly shares how he uses Stoic exercises to manage stress. Tim has spoken about how, whenever faced with tough decisions, he employs a fear-setting exercise, which mirrors the Stoic practice of visualizing worst-case scenarios. Instead of allowing his anxieties to build, he faces his fears head-on, breaks them down into manageable parts, and asks himself, what is the worst that can happen? This Stoic method allows him to take control over his emotions and respond to life's pressures with clarity and confidence. Like Ferriss, we all face moments of uncertainty and pressure, but the Stoic way of confronting these challenges head-on allows us to remain calm and composed. Stoicism isn't just theory, it's practical, and we can apply it today in small moments of reflection. For instance, the next time you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, take a pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? What's the best response I can have? By incorporating these Stoic lessons into our daily lives, we build the mental resilience to withstand life's inevitable storms and maintain our peace. Modern Stoicism, like the wisdom of the ancient philosophers, teaches us that inner strength is not about avoiding hardship, but about how we respond to it. Life will always have its ups and downs, but by cultivating a Stoic mindset, we can approach each challenge with the clarity, calm, and emotional control to turn it into an opportunity for growth. So, what will your response be the next time life throws a storm your way? Will you let it control you, or will you use the lessons of the Stoics to find peace and strength amidst the chaos? The choice is yours. Number 6. Practicing Stoicism in the modern world. In today's fast-paced world filled with distractions and challenges, the timeless wisdom of Stoicism offers us a powerful framework to maintain calm and develop emotional resilience. Practicing Stoicism in the modern world requires a consistent commitment to self-discipline and reflection, especially as we face the everyday chaos that surrounds us. One key Stoic practice that can greatly benefit us is meditation. Through meditation, we connect with our inner selves, cultivating the quietude necessary to distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This principle of understanding where our true power lies helps us avoid becoming overwhelmed by external circumstances. Alongside meditation, regular self-reflection is another essential Stoic practice. Taking time to reflect on our actions, thoughts, and emotions allows us to see where we can improve, while also embracing the understanding that growth is a continual journey. This self-awareness provides us with clarity on our values and guides us in staying aligned with our core principles. The Stoic concept of what's most important serves as a guiding beacon in this process. In a world where we are bombarded with distractions, it's easy to lose focus on what truly matters. By constantly evaluating and questioning our priorities, we can ensure that we dedicate our energy to what aligns with our values, whether that's family, health, or personal growth. In modern life, where pressure and stress are often overwhelming, the Stoic approach of maintaining a disciplined mind becomes more relevant than ever. For instance, in the workplace, it's easy to get caught up in the rush to meet deadlines or achieve success at any cost. However, applying Stoic principles like mindfulness and emotional regulation can help us maintain focus and stay calm amidst the storm of stress. When we embrace personal discipline, we start to develop what is known as an iron mind, a mindset that remains unshaken by external events and is deeply rooted in the present moment. This steadfastness allows us to navigate the trials of modern life with greater ease. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, reminds us that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In today's world, where external circumstances often seem unpredictable and beyond our control, it's our response, shaped by discipline, emotional regulation, and self-reflection, that allows us to maintain inner peace and grow as individuals. The Stoic teachings also encourage us to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than as threats. This mindset shift is crucial, as it helps us approach life's obstacles with a sense of purpose and equanimity. By developing and practicing Stoic principles such as self-discipline, reflection, and the consistent focus on what truly matters, we can lead a life that is not only more fulfilling, but also more aligned with our true selves. In doing so, we cultivate a peaceful, resilient mindset, an iron mind, that remains unshaken no matter what storms may arise. If this video was meaningful to you, please leave a comment below with the phrase, "I am willing to apply Stoicism to my life," to show that you are committed to practicing Stoic principles in modern life. Number 7. The benefits of mastering emotions through Stoicism. Mastering emotions is one of the core tenets of Stoicism, offering profound benefits that go far beyond ancient philosophy and into the very fabric of our daily lives. By cultivating emotional resilience through Stoic principles, you not only achieve inner peace, but also significantly improve your mental and physical well-being. In today's fast-paced world, where external pressures seem to multiply with every passing day, the ability to manage one's emotions is more vital than ever. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In a time when we're constantly bombarded with external challenges, learning how to respond to life's difficulties with composure, self-discipline, and rational thought is essential for maintaining mental clarity and emotional stability. Stoicism encourages us to focus on what is within our control and to let go of what lies beyond it. This simple yet powerful shift helps foster self-discipline and enables us to build a mind that remains unshaken in the face of adversity. By cultivating emotional mastery, we learn to move from reactive emotional responses to a more deliberate and thoughtful way of engaging with the world around us. Rather than allowing ourselves to be swept away by waves of anger, frustration, or stress, we can face life's challenges with calm and clear judgment. This shift doesn't only offer relief from anxiety, but it also allows for improved overall health, as stress has long been known to take a physical and mental toll on the body. When you respond with a steady mind, stress becomes easier to manage, leading to better physical health and a greater sense of well-being. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca reminds us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. And by learning to master our emotions, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. With this emotional resilience, you gradually develop what the Stoics refer to as an iron mind, one that stays steadfast and unwavering, even when the world around you seems to be in turmoil. This iron mind is not about suppressing emotions, but learning how to engage with them in a healthy and constructive manner. It means training yourself to not be overwhelmed by feelings, but to rise above them, much like a ship navigating through stormy seas without being capsized by the wave. By applying the Stoic methods in your daily life, you become better equipped to weather life's storms, not by avoiding them, but by remaining calm and collected when they inevitably arise. The benefits of emotional mastery through Stoicism don't just stop at personal peace. They extend to our social relationships as well. By embracing Stoic principles, we become less reactive in social situations. we are better able to approach conflicts with a rational mind, which reduces the likelihood of overreaction or emotional outbursts. This ability to manage emotions leads to more stable, harmonious, and fulfilling relationships. You become someone who others can rely on to stay calm under pressure, making you a better friend, partner, and colleague. As the great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius put it, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In a world that is constantly changing and presenting us with new challenges, the way we manage our thoughts and emotions determines our happiness and success. Whether it's dealing with the pressures of work, maintaining relationships with loved ones, or striving to meet personal goals, Stoicism equips us with the tools needed to navigate life with equanimity. It offers a guide for facing obstacles without losing our sense of peace, teaching us how to focus on what is truly important and to let go of things outside our control. By practicing emotional mastery, we gradually build a life filled with calm. We learn to live in the present moment, free from the tyranny of fluctuating emotions that often cloud our judgment and interfere with our peace of mind. As we continue to embrace Stoic principles, we are not only building a more fulfilling and successful life, but we are also forging a path to greater tranquility and inner peace, which will stay with us through all of life's challenges. In embracing the Stoic approach to mastering emotions, we come to realize that true happiness does not depend on external circumstances, but on our ability to maintain an inner balance amidst life's inevitable ups and downs. It is this balance, built upon the foundation of Stoic wisdom, that allows us to live a life of peace, success, and profound fulfillment. As you begin to integrate these principles into your daily life, you will notice a shift, one that enables you to live more purposefully, face challenges with resilience, and ultimately navigate life's storms with a calmness that is both rare and deeply empowering. By embracing Stoicism, we can better weather the storms of life, especially when it comes to dealing with emotions like anger. The wisdom of the Stoics encourages us to stay grounded, focus on what we can control, and respond to life's challenges with calm and reason. By practicing these timeless teachings, we can transform our emotional landscape and cultivate a calm, unwavering mindset. Now, it's time for you to begin this transformation journey. Start practicing the principles of Stoicism today, and you will begin to notice positive changes in your life. Better emotional control, clearer thinking, and a deeper sense of inner peace. Remember, your journey to mastering your emotions begins with a single step. No waver, no hurt. A journey through anger with Stoic reason. In the fast-paced world we live in today, emotions can often get the best of us. Anger, frustration, and stress are common reactions to life's challenges. But what if we could respond to these emotions with calmness and wisdom, instead of letting them control us? This is where Stoicism, an ancient Greek philosophy, comes in. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to exploring how Stoic principles can be applied to modern life, to help us overcome emotional turmoil and maintain inner peace. Number 1. Understanding Stoicism and its core principles. Stoicism is not just a philosophy, it's a way of life that can completely reshape how you experience the world. At its core, Stoicism teaches that while we cannot control external events, we always have control over how we respond to them. This insight is incredibly powerful. Think about it. How many times do you feel angry, frustrated, or overwhelmed by circumstances that are completely out of your control? In those moments, Stoicism offers us a simple but profound choice: to pause, breathe, and decide how we will respond. Not from a place of emotion, but from a place of inner strength and rational thought. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote embodies the heart of Stoic philosophy. We are not helpless in the face of life's challenges. Rather, we are empowered to choose our thoughts and reactions. By taking control of our internal world, we unlock a deep well of strength, even in the most difficult of circumstances. It's as if the Stoics have handed us a secret, this power to cultivate inner peace by mastering our responses. But how do we do that? How do we practice this seemingly impossible act of controlling our reactions? It starts with self-discipline, a core Stoic principle. Practicing self-discipline doesn't mean suppressing our emotions or pretending that we don't feel things like anger or frustration. Rather, it's about creating a mental space between stimulus and response, allowing us to choose a thoughtful reaction instead of an impulsive one. Think about the times in your life when you've allowed your emotions to get the best of you, whether it's anger, sadness, or frustration. What did that response bring you? More stress? More conflict? Most likely, when we allow ourselves to react emotionally, we give up control. Stoicism teaches us the opposite. We can choose how we respond, and in doing so, we can prevent ourselves from being at the mercy of external events. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, famously said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This simple truth holds the key to achieving peace in the chaos of everyday life. The Stoics aren't asking us to live in a world of indifference or cold detachment. Instead, they teach us to respond to challenges with wisdom and clarity, not with unchecked emotion. Imagine a difficult situation in your life right now, something that would normally provoke frustration or anger. What would happen if you stopped for a moment, took a deep breath, and asked yourself, "Can I control this? How can I respond in a way that brings peace instead of more turmoil?" This is the essence of Stoicism, resilience in the face of the uncontrollable. It doesn't mean life will be free of challenges or that we won't feel hurt, but it does mean we can meet these challenges with equanimity and grace. Stoicism empowers us to face life's trials without allowing them to dictate our emotional state. The true strength lies in mastering our responses, not in changing the world around us. The practice of Stoicism is not a one-time fix. It's an ongoing journey. It requires continual self-reflection and effort, but the rewards are immense. The more we practice Stoic principles, the better equipped we become to handle whatever life throws our way. Imagine how different your life could be if you responded to life's challenges with calm, clarity, and purpose, rather than with frustration or anger. What if every difficult situation became an opportunity to practice inner strength and wisdom? By embracing Stoicism, you begin to see that the power to find peace is already within you. The only question left is, how will you respond? Number 2, the power of rational thinking in managing anger. Anger is something everyone experiences, whether it's frustration from a mistake at work, a comment from a friend that stings, or an unexpected delay in your day. The urge to react emotionally can be overwhelming. But what if you could choose a different response? Modern Stoicism teaches us how to take control of our emotions, especially anger. Instead of letting anger drive us to react impulsively, Stoicism encourages us to pause, take a deep breath, and evaluate the situation rationally. Think about it. When you're angry, how often are your emotions based on a clear and rational understanding of the situation? More often than not, anger is rooted in irrational beliefs or distorted perceptions. It's easy to let your mind run wild, believing that everything is unjust or unfair. But in these moments, Stoicism reminds us that we have the power to challenge these beliefs. By questioning whether the situation is truly as bad as it seems, or whether we might be blowing things out of proportion, we can shift our perspective. Take, for example, a common workplace scenario. Imagine you've worked hard on a project, only to receive harsh criticism from a colleague. In the heat of the moment, it's tempting to snap back or let frustration take over. However, practicing rational thinking can allow you to step back and ask yourself, what can I control here? The truth is, we can't control others' actions, but we can control our reactions. By choosing to respond thoughtfully and calmly, we not only avoid escalating the situation, but also maintain our dignity and composure. This is the beauty of Stoic lessons. They empower us to make more deliberate decisions. Rather than being slaves to our emotions, we can distance ourselves from the immediate urge to react. By practicing rational thinking, we give ourselves space to process our feelings and decide how we want to respond, rather than just acting out of frustration. This shift in mindset is crucial because it prevents us from doing something we might regret later. Think about the times you've acted on impulse and regretted it. What if, instead, you took a moment to pause, reflect, and respond with clarity? It's not about suppressing anger or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about acknowledging that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we choose to respond. Rational thinking helps us put things in perspective. It's like hitting the reset button on our emotions and approaching the challenge with a clearer mind. For example, consider someone who's constantly criticized at work. Rather than letting anger simmer and cause stress, they could reflect on what they can change. Maybe their approach to the situation or their attitude towards the criticism itself. With this mindset, they begin to see the situation differently and respond in a way that's measured and composed. The key lesson here is that we are not defined by our immediate emotional reactions. Anger, like any other emotion, is a natural part of being human. But by choosing to pause, think, and respond thoughtfully, we can turn what could be a negative reaction into an opportunity for growth. How often have you felt the urge to react in anger and later wished you hadn't? Next time, try taking a moment to step back and reflect. Ask yourself, is this reaction based on reason, or am I letting my emotions control me? By practicing this kind of rational thinking, we not only manage our anger better, but also gain control over how we approach life's challenges. So, the next time anger arises, remember the power of rational thinking. Stoicism teaches us that it's not the situations that make us angry, but how we respond to them. By choosing to act with reason, we can live with greater calm and clarity, making decisions that align with our values rather than our fleeting emotions. If you're ready to take control of your emotions and use rational thinking to manage anger, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a comment below saying, "I choose clarity over chaos." Let's embrace the power of Stoic wisdom together. Number 3, embracing the idea of control and letting go. One of the most important teachings of Stoicism is the distinction between what we can control and what we cannot. This lesson is crucial because so much of our anger and frustration arises from trying to control the uncontrollable. Other people's actions, unpredictable events, or outcomes we have no power over. Think about the last time you were upset because things didn't go the way you hoped. Maybe someone cut you off in traffic, or an event didn't go as planned. The anger and frustration that follow often come from a deeper feeling of powerlessness, and this is exactly where Stoicism offers us freedom. By focusing only on what we can influence, our thoughts, actions, and responses, we can dramatically shift our emotional experience. The key is realizing that we can't control external circumstances, but we always have control over how we react to them. Let's look at a simple example. You're late for an important meeting, and the traffic is at a standstill. The situation is out of your hands, but instead of letting the frustration build, imagine pausing and reflecting on the situation. You can't change the traffic, but you can control how you respond. Maybe you decide to use the time to listen to an inspiring podcast, take a few deep breaths, or even shift your mindset and remind yourself that getting upset won't change a thing. This kind of response is what Stoicism teaches us. It's not about ignoring our emotions, but about choosing to respond with a clear mind and inner calm, rather than reacting impulsively with anger or frustration. The famous Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This message is profound because it shows us that our power doesn't lie in trying to control everything around us. It lies in our ability to control how we respond to life's challenges. Think about it. How often do we waste energy being upset about things outside of our control? The more we cling to trying to change things we can't, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment. When we focus on our own thoughts, actions, and reactions, we stop giving away our power to the uncontrollable forces in our lives. In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in the frustration of trying to control everything around us. But by applying the Stoic lesson of focusing on what we can control, we can shift our approach to life. The next time something goes wrong, instead of falling into anger or frustration, ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? When we learn to focus on our own thoughts and actions, we free ourselves from unnecessary emotional turmoil. The truth is, life will always throw challenges our way, whether it's traffic, difficult people, or unexpected setbacks. But how we respond to these challenges is where our true power lies. If we can embrace the Stoic principle of letting go of the need to control everything, we can live with greater peace and acceptance. By focusing only on what we can influence, we find the strength to handle any situation with clarity and calm. So, ask yourself, when was the last time you got upset about something you couldn't control? What could you have done differently if you had chosen to focus only on your own actions and responses? These reflections are key to embracing the Stoic lessons that can help us lead a more peaceful, intentional life. Letting go of the need to control everything outside of ourselves doesn't mean we stop caring or stop trying. It means we free ourselves from unnecessary emotional weight. In doing so, we become more resilient, more in control of our own peace, and ultimately more fulfilled. Number 4, the role of self-reflection and personal growth. Self-reflection holds the power to transform not only your emotional state, but your entire approach to life, especially when it comes to managing challenging emotions like anger. How often do you find yourself getting angry, only to later wonder what just happened? The Stoics believed in the importance of regular self-reflection, making sure that our thoughts and actions align with our deeper values. This isn't just about looking inward. It's about understanding the root cause of your emotions and taking responsibility for them. When anger strikes, we need to pause and ask ourselves, why am I feeling this way? Could it be that our expectations were not met, or are we holding on to past hurts and resentments? Understanding these triggers is the key to unlocking a more controlled and composed reaction. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, wisely said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This powerful statement highlights the Stoic belief that obstacles, like anger, are not just roadblocks, but opportunities for growth. Instead of reacting impulsively when anger arises, we have the chance to reflect on it, dissect it, and use it as a stepping stone to greater wisdom. Have you ever thought about your anger in this way? What would happen if you chose to see it as a lesson, not just a moment of frustration? The Stoic approach to anger isn't about suppressing it, it's about understanding it. When we take the time to reflect, we can identify whether our anger is tied to unmet needs, unrealistic expectations, or perhaps a grudge we've been holding on to for too long. By bringing awareness to the underlying reasons for our emotional reactions, we gain control over how we respond. Instead of letting anger dictate our actions, we can decide how to channel it into something more constructive. This isn't an easy task, but it is incredibly rewarding. Wouldn't it feel empowering to know that in those moments when anger threatens to take over, you have the ability to choose a better path? The Stoic secret lies in accepting our emotions and seeing them for what they truly are. They are not flaws or weaknesses, but signals that can guide us towards self-improvement. What if we could replace anger with patience, empathy, or even understanding? Think about how much smoother your life would flow if you could turn moments of frustration into opportunities for personal growth. It's a shift in perspective that can bring immense peace and clarity. Next time you feel that rush of anger, pause and ask yourself, what is this really about? What is this emotion trying to teach me? By practicing self-reflection, you not only gain control over your reactions, but also open the door to personal growth. It's through this process of reflection and understanding that we cultivate a deeper, more meaningful sense of inner peace. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Imagine how much happier you could be if you could transform your anger into something that helps you grow, rather than holding you back. The power to change is within you. Number 5. Cultivating mindfulness and presence in the moment. Mindfulness is a practice that aligns perfectly with Stoic teachings and has become a key tool in modern life. At its core, mindfulness is about becoming fully aware of your thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations in the present moment. This awareness allows you to observe your emotions without being overwhelmed by them. It's easy to get swept up in our emotions, especially when things don't go as planned or when we face challenges. How many times have you found yourself angry or frustrated, only to realize later that your reaction didn't serve you? Mindfulness offers a powerful way to prevent that by giving you the space to pause, breathe, and choose how to respond, rather than reacting impulsively. This concept mirrors the Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and responses. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This perfectly reflects the practice of mindfulness. While we can't control external events, we have full control over how we respond to them. In moments of anger, mindfulness becomes an invaluable tool. Instead of letting your emotions take the wheel, mindfulness allows you to step back and recognize the emotion before acting on it. It's like pressing the pause button and choosing a response that aligns with your values and intentions, rather than being hijacked by the heat of the moment. Think about a time when you were in a heated situation, maybe a disagreement with a friend or family member. Without mindfulness, your emotions may have taken over, and you might have said or done something you regretted. But with mindfulness, you would have been able to observe those emotions, acknowledge them, and then choose how to respond. You could have paused, taken a deep breath, and reminded yourself that you can control your reactions, even if you can't control the other person's actions. This is where the power of mindfulness lies. It doesn't suppress emotions, but it creates space to respond thoughtfully, not impulsively. By practicing mindfulness, you start to recognize patterns in your emotional responses. You begin to notice when anger or frustration is rising within you, and you learn to intervene before it gets out of control. Stoicism teaches us that emotions, while natural, don't have to dictate our behavior. We can choose how to respond, and this is where mindfulness becomes an essential tool. It helps us break the automatic response cycle and empowers us to respond with clarity, reason, and calm. In today's world, where we're constantly bombarded with stressors, practicing mindfulness can help you stay grounded. Instead of being at the mercy of your emotions, you learn to acknowledge them, understand them, and then decide how to move forward. It's about becoming present in the moment, so you're not lost in the past or anxious about the future. By being present, you become less reactive and more intentional in your actions. How am I feeling right now? What is the emotion I'm experiencing, and how can I respond in a way that aligns with my values? The more you practice mindfulness, the more you strengthen your ability to stay calm and composed, even in the face of adversity. This is the essence of Stoic thinking, recognizing that we can't control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. The lesson here is clear. Mindfulness helps you build self-awareness, control your emotions, and choose your responses. When combined with Stoic wisdom, it gives you the tools to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and purpose. So, take a moment today to practice mindfulness. Pause, breathe, and observe. Your response to life's challenges will change, and so will your experience of the world around you. Comment below. I am a person who lives in the moment and never lets anything take away my sanity. When you cultivate the ability to live in the present, you not only discover the power of the mind, but also demonstrate the power of a person who is never distracted in life. Number 6. Developing emotional resilience through Stoic practices. Emotional resilience is a powerful skill that allows us to recover from adversity and maintain inner strength, no matter how difficult life becomes. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, teaches us that adversity is not a force to fear, but an opportunity for growth and development. The Stoic mindset offers invaluable tools to build this resilience, enabling us to weather the storms of life with grace and poise. One of the most effective Stoic practices is journaling, which helps us reflect on our daily experiences and emotions. Writing down our thoughts provides clarity, allowing us to understand how we react to various situations. This process helps us identify patterns in our behavior and reactions, giving us the chance to change them over time. Through journaling, we create space for introspection and begin to cultivate a greater awareness of our inner world. Another Stoic technique that builds emotional resilience is negative visualization. While it might seem strange, imagining worst-case scenarios prepares the mind for possible challenges, reducing the emotional shock when difficulties arise. Instead of fearing misfortune, negative visualization allows us to mentally rehearse the possibility of setbacks and accept them before they occur. This practice doesn't invite failure, but rather conditions us to be unshaken in the face of hardship. By anticipating adversity, we train ourselves to react with calmness and composure, strengthening our resilience in the process. Reframing, too, plays a crucial role in Stoic emotional resilience. In moments of difficulty, reframing enables us to view obstacles not as burdens, but as opportunities for growth. The Stoic concept of amor fati, the love of one's fate, encourages us to embrace every situation, good or bad, as part of our journey. When we encounter challenges, instead of seeing them as things to be avoided, we begin to understand that they are integral to our personal development. Reframing shifts our perspective, transforming frustrations into stepping stones toward becoming better versions of ourselves. The more we practice these Stoic principles, the stronger and more resilient we become. Emotional resilience doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent effort, we learn to navigate life's unpredictable nature with a steady mind and a calm heart. In the fast-paced, often chaotic world we live in today, these practices are especially relevant. Stress, uncertainty, and external pressures constantly surround us, but by embracing Stoic practices like journaling, negative visualization, and reframing, we can strengthen our emotional foundation and remain unshaken by external events. In the modern age, where everything seems to move faster and with less control, cultivating an iron mind becomes essential. With a resilient mindset, we can approach challenges with a sense of calm rather than anxiety, maintaining our inner peace no matter what happens around us. As we continue to apply these Stoic tools in our daily lives, we realize that adversity no longer has to break us. It becomes an opportunity for us to grow stronger and wiser. As the great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Through this lens, we begin to see every challenge as an opportunity to develop emotional resilience and navigate life with unshakable strength and clarity. As we've explored in this video, the Stoic philosophy offers a powerful framework for managing our emotions, especially anger. By embracing modern Stoicism, we can develop the mental clarity, emotional resilience, and inner peace needed to navigate life's challenges with wisdom. Through rational thinking, mindfulness, and self-reflection, we can learn to respond to anger in a way that helps us maintain control over our emotions rather than letting them control us. If you're ready to unlock more Stoic secrets and transform your mindset, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic Secrets. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our upcoming videos. Join us on this journey towards a more peaceful, centered, and rational way of living, where we overcome life's obstacles with calm and balance.